Hey everyone, you're listening to the official podcast of 4playernetwork.com. Check us out at that address for everything you need to know about our community, monthly giveaways, and nightly live streams. You can even support us on Patreon at patreon.com/4player. And last but not least, you can catch the live recordings of these podcasts every single Thursday night on our Twitch channel. We hope to see you there. Enjoy. Welcome to episode 709 of 4Player Podcast. It is February 3rd, 2022. My name is Nick Henderson, and I am joined tonight by Brad Simons.
Hello.
Nolan Hedstrom.
How's it going, everybody?
Christopher Davis.
Hello.
And Crispy.
Hello.
And boy, we got a lot to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about Pokemon. We're going to talk about Nobody Saves the World. There's a bunch of crazy shit in the news. We're going to talk about that Ghostwire trailer that just dropped earlier today. But before we get to that, I have a little bit of housekeeping I want to take care of. First of all, last week, just a week ago tonight, we recorded a 5-hour podcast. We did our 2021 awards show, and I've been splitting those up into 5 separate episodes. So tomorrow, the last part will drop, and then all 5 of the episodes will be out. So if you want to hear hear us talk about 2021 in gaming for 5 hours, that's available. It's on 4playernetwork.com. It's on, Apple Music or podcast, or whatever the fuck it's called. It's on Spotify. It's on all that jazz. Go check it out. I also want to mention that community questions and feedback. We've been kind of experimenting. I tried email for a bit. Wasn't getting a whole lot of reception there, but I think we finally found our answer. We're going to be using Discord in conjunction with email to collect feedback and questions from you guys. Anybody who listens to the show can write in. Anybody is welcome to submit questions and comments and stuff. I think we got a nice, well-rounded amount of feedback for this episode. So I'm going to be sprinkling that in throughout the show. We're going to do a community segment in the second half where we answer some questions from our listeners. But if you want to submit on a future show, we have a Discord channel now, or a Discord category called Podcast, and there's a submit a question thread or channel, and I'm creating dedicated threads for each of the episodes. So tomorrow I'll create an episode or a thread for episode 710, and you can go in there and leave a question, talk about a news topic, whatever it is, and we'll use that we'll sprinkle your comments throughout the show. So, and I think it worked out this week. So we have a lot of stuff to share from you guys. So keep that in mind. And lastly, the Revival Club is still playing Warhammer 40K. I don't know if y'all know this. That game is dope. Chris Davis picked a great game for his. I mean, the Revival Club picked the game, but he created a good list. That game came from that list, and I've been enjoying the shit out of Warhammer 40K Space Marine.
I happen to know a few good video games out there.
It's a damn fine video game.
It's fine.
Crispy says it's fine, but
it's good. It's like better than fine. It's good. It's not great. Great is
all right. Fine.
Come on.
It's
pretty
good. Darn good. How's that?
I mean, jetpacks and chainsaw swords are
one
definitely
of the best.
Awesome.
One of the best jetpacks. One of the best chainsaw swords. One of the it's pretty damn. One of the best shotguns. One of the best plasma pistols. That game is so good. Anyways, enough about that. We have a lot of ground to cover tonight, so let's get into it. Just a few hours ago, before we recorded this wasn't originally on the plans and on the docket tonight, but we're going to talk about it because they just finally debuted the first gameplay footage of Ghostwire Tokyo. Sorry if you could hear that.
Not the first deep dive, I guess.
First deep dive. The first one that doesn't feel just like a really quick montage that's like 10 seconds long of gameplay. This is like a 10-minute video where they show lots and lots of gameplay, give you an idea of what the game is about, how it plays, how it's structured. A lot of this stuff, a lot of these details, is kind of what I've been waiting to find out. I've been very lukewarm on this game for a while because I just didn't know what the fuck it was. I think this is kind of what pushed me over the edge, just making me excited about it, because now I know what the fuck it is. And it feels like it's right up my alley, but it seems like tonight we may have some varying...
We're going to talk about aesthetic later.
Yeah. So where do you want to open, Brad? And Brad, you've been very much looking forward to this reveal, I suppose, for a while. You've been talking about it a lot.
I thought we were going to wait till after the break to talk about news and stuff.
No. We're opening with this. This is what I'm saying. We're opening with this because it's not on the docket. We'll just get this out of the way now.
Okay.
Brad, this is you. Tell us about Ghostwire Tokyo. I'm putting it. The ball is in your court.
It's me. I thought this was you.
You're the one who wanted to talk about this tonight.
Yeah.
Oh my god. You know, Brad's been off the podcast for 5 months, and
you're not cutting me any slack over here, host. Sorry. I thought we were gonna watch the video during the break, and I wasn't prepared. Let me.
No.
So there was what was it? A state of play that came out.
Crispy's had such energy. He's ready to talk about Ghostwire.
Okay. There was a state of play. It was a state of play, right? Today.
Mm-hmm. I guess yeah.
It was a 10-minute gameplay sesh and a 10-minute like interview with the studio, or like including
Shinji
one of those
Mikami.
Videos. Yeah, Shinji Mikami, of course, of Tango Gameworks. This is their, I guess, the game they've been working on since The Evil Within 2. It's that
which is a great game, by the way.
It's one of those like Deathloop. It's a Sony timed exclusive, even though it's owned by Microsoft now, so that's awkward.
It's such a weird situation.
but it's weird because they have shown like a couple of trailers with gameplay, but that's pretty much it. It's been like that initial reveal trailer, and then I think last year or in the past year, we've had a couple of short gameplay trailers where we started to see finger guns and stuff, right? But we didn't really know what this was. There was a lot of speculation, and then I think that the release date of March 25th or whatever leaked like a few days ago, and we were like, March, we don't even know what this game is. And then people start to speculate that there would be some big unveiling, and sure enough, this 20-minute state of play, we finally got to see what this game is. I know like yesterday or whatever, we saw some leaked screenshots, and I saw that mini map with like icons on it that was very like a round GTA style mini map, and I'm like, was this like an open world city sort of thing? And sure enough, it is. We learned that, and we saw a bunch of gameplay and finger guns and Naruto and neon lights, and it's ugly apparently. Crispy, go.
Son of a bitch.
Okay. I'll add. I think one of the reasons that it was exciting to hear that this is sort of like this open city sort of thing is because one of the most interesting and exciting, and honestly, for a horror game, pretty unique, was that some of the open-ended experimentation they were doing in The Evil Within 2, it was pretty much universally everyone's favorite part of that game, that you can just like wander into a house and all of a sudden you're in some like horrific like event, and that shit was just cool because you didn't have to go there, yet the ghost found you there. It felt good for that type of game, for that type of genre. And to find out that Ghostwire Tokyo is it's like Yakuza mixed with Naruto, right? But it's open-ended, and that's cool, and you have a grappling power that can get you on top of buildings and stuff, and it's just Tango Gameworks is cool, and it's exciting to see. I think when we first saw like the snippets of gameplay, some people were disappointed. I know you were disappointed, Nick, and I think after today, a lot more people. I don't even know if
disappointed was the right word. It was just
you were expecting a more traditional horror experience from a traditional horror studio, at least after shipping 2 Evil Within games. And I understand that, and this is what they're calling an action adventure game, not a horror game. Very specifically, they said it's not a horror game.
Paranormal elements.
With paranormal elements, and it is just like a very neon action game with, I guess, like horror, like Japanese horror, like ghosts and creatures and stuff. A lot of stuff, a lot of long hair, giant pairs of scissors, kind of iconic yokai horror stuff that you've seen before, mixed with a Yakuza environment and finger guns. And I don't know, I think it looks cool because, I don't know, I think it looks like something we've not seen before, in terms of...
It definitely does look unique, yeah.
Especially from, first of all, we don't see a lot of first-person action games or anything from Japan.
Yeah.
And to see like something that as wild as, you know, the kind of stuff you probably see in like a character action game, but in this like first person perspective is, I don't know. I've always, every time I've looked at Ghostwire Tokyo, I was like, I don't know what this is. I don't know if it's going to be good, but it looks like something I've not played before, and I want to play that.
It certainly looks unique.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's ugly or something, or it doesn't look as good as Persona.
No.
Crispy.
Oh man. Okay, but you really did kind of just explain my position pretty accurately. Oh, I know, but like, so I mean, all I'll say is that like, I just watched this for the first time like 20 minutes ago, you know, and I was watching it. The aesthetics of the game were kind of putting me in that same situation that Nick was in, right? Where it's like I was expecting more of like a traditional like atmospheric horror kind of thing, and that's just not what this is. I didn't even take in any of the game mechanic stuff. I didn't even take in the fact that it's like a first person shooter. And then I've been watching it over. I've been watching it on loop while you guys have been talking since we started the podcast, and
right.
it is, yeah. I mean, it is actually pretty wild looking. It looks like Far Cry or something, or like
vibes I get. You know what vibes I get? I get like Elder Scrolls Mage, like Skyrim Mage, and a little bit of like Bioshock plasmids.
Yeah.
Or like, I mean, even something like, I don't know, like fucking, it's like Deus Ex or some shit. But
Deus
like,
Ex, yes. Honestly,
world feels like Deus Ex. Yeah.
All of those vibes, but it has like Japanese action game, like the Japanese action game like angle that you don't get with those other games. Like it looks cool to be a mage in Elder Scrolls, but it kind of sucks to play a mage. This game has like a fucking parry and cool like, you know, Naruto charge attacks where you're turning your finger gun jutsu into a finger gun rocket launcher.
Yes, but it also has like that Far Cry. I'm gonna snipe people with a bow and arrow and then like sneak up on them and do a backstab.
Yeah.
Instead of using a knife, I'm using like a demon seal or some shit like that.
Yeah, I'm not sold on like
is like okay, whatever. Like that's the part of it that kind of seems like okay, like you're not blowing me away. I like honestly in the however long we've been talking about this game, I feel myself.
Like your position has changed.
I feel myself getting a little more like okay. I think I'm a little more now that the initial shock of like this isn't what I thought it was gonna be has kind of passed. What is here? I mean, sounds cool. Like it seems kind of cool, right?
But
like,
when you
it's a
think of,
first-person
like,
shooter, but it's all like spells and stuff.
When you
and
look
you're
at
just fighting ghosts and
when you look at Tango Gameworks, like and their last couple games, The Evil Within, are like pretty like aesthetically uninteresting. You have like, you know, a shotgun.
I thought like
and you get the cool crossbow and stuff, but like
but I thought two had this like I thought two had more of like a vibe to it.
You're right.
I would say
at a glance, at a trailer, you didn't really see that vibe, but it wasn't until you started.
But I would say that one, the first Evil Within was a little more boring, in the sense that you're in this big building and every once in a while you're going to some weird places. But I think, like you mentioned earlier, that because you had an open world to explore, even though maybe it's not as aesthetically pleasing to the eye as Ghostwire Tokyo appears to be, it was still, unique areas to an extent. And, it was more about kind of, like you said earlier, kind of opening a door to a random house in this town and not knowing what was going to be on the other side.
Storytelling that unfolds naturally kind of in the world was kind of the strength of the Evil Within 2. But like in the footage montage that we saw of this today, like the things that kind of like piqued my interest once I started to realize that this was an open adventure, like open map, was that like there's glimpses of like a grappling hook like mechanic, maybe even something that lets you kind of like glide or fly across the city, and it's very vertical. I mean, it's Tokyo, so a lot of the buildings are very high, and I don't know, like that kind of stuff combined with all like the supernatural, like paranormal elements and like the creepy demon design. Like the game may not be scary, but like I think the enemy designs, like the monster designs, are very aesthetically pleasing and you know, or visually interesting.
I see,
Uh,
like, yeah, I don't know, like, yeah, no, they're cool. But it's that same thing. Okay, I'm gonna lose my mind.
don't do
To
that.
the
It's that
design
same thing
of
with like XCOM, right? Like you could take one of those like thin men from XCOM and put it in a completely different game, put it in like a horror game, and that thing would be fucking terrifying. But because you're in like because of the perspective you're in, and you're in like this brightly lit area, and like you've got guns and stuff, and there's like 5 of them running around and taking cover, like it completely changes the vibe of that character's design aesthetically. You know what I'm saying? Does
Yeah,
that make any sense?
no, it does.
I agree,
It's
Crispy,
like
and because this game looks brighter, and
like
because you're
one
in
of these faceless
Neon
men,
Lights
yeah.
Tokyo, and everything's bright, and you're doing your, like Brad said, your jutsus that are giving off light. It seems less scary, but that doesn't mean they're.
It's not even.
that you
It's not
couldn't
even
be
that. It's
scary
that.
parts of this game where you're in a dark area, and all of a sudden maybe you lose your jutsu, and you're having to go against these creatures, and
No. It's not even that. It's this idea of like. It's this idea of like they're all just kind of like hanging around, and you're just like tackling them like it's a Far Cry game, you know, where it's like, oh, I'll snipe the one and then I'll sneak up on the other one instead. And like they're coming at you in like waves, like an action game. And listen, that's not even the argument that I'm making anymore. I'm not even saying I think this should be a horror game. I'm saying that's kind of like what I was expecting. That's what the initial reaction was when I was kind of like, I don't know about this. And you guys were like, oh my God, Crispy hates this game. And now that I realize it's not that, what is here on its own looks really cool. All I'm saying is that like it is definitely borrowing elements from like aesthetics and from like kind of aesthetics, I guess, that I like, but it's just like because it's in this game, they don't look as cool as they normally do. I don't know if that makes any sense.
These things that
it's recontextualizing a lot of it, and it's like, yeah, I don't know, it's like, oh, that's pretty cool, but that's not even like that's not even like a real problem or concern. It's like I'm just trying to explain where I was coming from when we were talking about this before the show, and you guys were all like, "Oh, this is gonna be a thing." What is here looks great, but like, yeah, at first I was just kind of like, man.
I totally get where you're coming from.
Brad brought up Control, where it was like you really like the elements, and in Control, I really like the aesthetic of that game. It's just that like it sucks that it's a shooty game, you know? It's just like the shooty game, and that's kind of what I was feeling at first here. But like this
game has parries.
Yeah, okay.
Like
yeah,
this game is gonna be like fun and good to play.
Are people gonna walk away from this conversation thinking I have a problem with this game and I don't want to play it?
Like, for the past 5 minutes, you've explained
why you have a problem with the game, and you say,
I don't. Yeah, and I don't, and I guess I don't, and like I just feel so confused.
Why do you want to just play Far Cry instead of this? That's my question.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Brad.
I mean, Bo is probably better in
Brad's
Far
officially back. We
I think
can move on from the Ghostwire conversation.
You've successfully, told people that you don't hate it, so I wouldn't.
I guess.
About that.
Yeah, no, but yeah,
weird. No, it's funny. It's because in the last like 20 minutes, I've watched Crispy go through the range of emotions that I've been going on to over like a longer period of time, because his initial reaction, and his thoughts about like things that he likes being recontextualized in maybe a less appealing way, is exactly how I was feeling when we started to see more of this gameplay before, and even after this. While I'm definitely more excited about it now, we still haven't seen like just a solid like 20 minutes of gameplay where it doesn't cut to anything else. It doesn't like have some narrator talking over it. Like I still don't really know what the actual vibe of the game is from moment to moment.
The vibe.
And honestly, yeah, I mean like I wanted to see a completely uninterrupted, unnarrated, just chunk of gameplay.
Well, you're not going to get that until launch at this point.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get that at this point, but like I am definitely more on board with it now than I was before. We can move on.
Like the unfortunate thing about this game and its marketing campaign is that it's got like a fifth of the budget of what Deathloop had. And I feel like this game needed more of the explanation than Deathloop did.
Oh, Let me, Brad. Are you more excited for this game than you are, say, Dying Light 2?
Yeah.
Or are they kind of like in the same area, or are
No.
you like really excited for this and Dying Light 2 is kind of lower priority, or vice versa?
That's an interesting question, I guess. I'm excited about both. I mean, although my Dying Light 2 hype is somewhat tempered by
To be fair,
the
the only reason I
critical
bring it up,
response to the game, like an
is
issue.
because now we know they both seem kind of similar. They both are like these first person
Dying
kind of
Light's
like
an 80-hour bloated. I mean, look, they're very different games, I think. But I'm
you
excited about both of them.
don't think this is like that's not the impression that this trailer gives you? Is that it's? I mean, I don't think it's going to be quite as like hub focused as something like Dying Light is. I don't, the city isn't as much an equation, but it is an open world. Like, why? What is the point of that? Right? What's going on there?
One is Techland and one is Tango Gameworks, and those are just very different studios that make very different kinds of games, and both interest me.
And I get the impression that while this is open, it's going to be a very condensed open world. Like I don't feel like this is going to be some massive sprawling open world.
Nick, have you ever been to Tokyo?
Yes.
Do you know how big Tokyo is, Nicholas? Do you know how many people live in Tokyo?
Think of it this way. I think this is going to be more akin to like a Yakuza open world than it is a Dying Light open world, where it's like it's big enough to
I don't think they're actually
know about Yakuza's open world.
Yeah, I don't think they're actually
talking about that for like 18 years.
They have neon signs, you motherfucker. That's the reason you're saying that.
Would they have the?
I think we're going to see elements of the stuff we saw in Evil Within 2 in this game, but probably like more fleshed out. And again, Evil Within, Dying Light, both kind of like dealing with zombies, very different kind of experience. So
right.
Oh, but like you can see the comparison. You can see why those two games might be.
I guess that's why I think they both look cool.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just. I
don't think that's only why, but I do.
I'm not telling you to make Sophie's choice. I just want to know where you're at as a whole on.
I'm playing both of them.
Okay.
I had a transition that I was gonna make, and then y'all ripped right through it. So now we're just gonna.
Hold on. Can I call out this Jeff comment in chat where he's like, "I'm like, this is gonna be fun and good," and I follow. That was a follow up to me observing that, hey, there is a parry in this game. All I'm referring to is like Mikami Japanese style like combat design. When I see a parry, that tells me that this is like a mechanics first style like combat system. This might look like Elder Scrolls, but it's not going to play like Elder Scrolls.
Damn.
This is like Evil Within played like, especially 2 played like a certain way, but also Mikami's like previous games and the kind of people he works with, the kind of projects he produces play a certain way. So I'm just saying, like, that's the sign that it's not going to be like a fucking walking sim or whatever the fuck. That's what I mean by fun and good.
Speaking of fun and good, let's talk about. I don't know. I don't even know if that's a transition that works yet. Let's talk about Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Oh, is that game fun and good, Nick?
That's why I'm trying. That's what I'm still trying to figure out for myself.
You don't know? Oh, who is playing? Just Brad?
No, I'm playing.
Nick.
Oh, you are playing, Nick? And you don't know yet? No, fuck no. You don't know yet if it's fun or good. No, listen, I don't hate Pokemon, but like where I'm at with Pokemon is like I'm not gonna play a Pokemon game unless like like people I know who don't play games are like, have you seen this new Pokemon game? Like if it gets that popular, then maybe I'll see what the hell's going on. But...
Well, Crispy, might I direct your eyes to the footage on our screen as we are talking about Pokemon Legends Arceus?
No, don't look at it. Don't look at it. It's ugly.
Okay, no. Okay, first of all...
No. I think we should open with that and not make it a big conversation, but just saying, obviously, a lot of the talk around this game when people first laid eyes on it without really knowing what it was or how it played or whatever, was like, this is ugly. And then the conversation of like, dude, Pokemon's like literally one of the biggest video game franchises and most profitable video game franchises of all time, more or less owned or published by Nintendo. And like, why does this shit look like ass? Why is the presentation kind of whack? Why is there no voice acting? Why are these boring little text box? I mean, this shit at times looks like a PS2 game.
When they're very clearly chasing that Breath of the Wild vibe. Like, this had, like, so I don't want
Why does Pokemon have to look like a PS2 game when they finally do their big open world thing? That was the controversy.
Brad, you had a very good point. I don't think we should dwell on the visuals too long.
No, I know. I don't think so either.
But you are also pointing out something very important, which is that they have more money than God. It probably shouldn't look like this.
Yeah. Right, just to be clear,
it's not just visuals; it's presentation as well. It's all the things that make games fun to like be in and play. This game is somewhat lacking. I've been kind of skipping dialogue. I mean, it's kind of dull and lifeless in places in terms of presentation.
Sure. Chris Davis, what do you
just so I understand, who is the actual developer behind this game? Is it actual Game Freak or is it another team?
It is Game Freak.
It is Game Freak.
So this is Game Freak straight off of last year's Sword and Shield, right?
This is not this is not some like third-party spin-off of this is a straight up Pokemon
full
game.
On big ass Pokemon game.
The future of Pokemon.
Yes, absolutely. This has got to be the future of Pokemon. And now that we've gotten the kind of elephant in the room out of the way, and also, to be fair, there have been moments where I'm still running around the world, and despite the fact that the entire time I'm thinking to myself, this could look better, there's been times where I'm like, I've enjoyed the way it looked. But the more important thing is important thing is
your
here
eyes adjust at the very least.
Yeah.
I feel. I don't know. Like the colors are really muted.
Yeah,
and textures are low detail.
It's not a texture.
It is. Yeah, this is not going to win any awards at the end of the year for best looking game of the year. Unlike the game that it's very clearly chasing, Breath of the Wild, which has a very distinct and very colorful, vibrant, pleasing aesthetic, which is what they're going for. Like they're not even just like the obvious like world design, but I'm talking like when you like their menus and that you kind of scroll through look very similar. The sound effects that they use seem very similar. They tone the music down like to its very minimalistic use, kind of so like it feels like you're running around Hyrule Field in Breath of the Wild, where it's like just very muted music and you're just kind of taking in the ambient sound. Like they're taking such a similar approach to Breath of the Wild.
More like Hyrule Field in Ocarina of Time, though. Let's be real.
yeah. They're going for Breath of the Wild. They're maybe hitting Hyrule Field from Ocarina of Time instead. But the things that it does that are interesting, that I think do kind of move the series forward in a significant way, are noteworthy. That's for sure. And albeit, I'm going to be honest, I was struggling with this game at first because it is such a different. I actually streamed this last night purely for the sake of being like, I need people in our community to kind of talk me through this, so I can kind of, because every time it kind of lets me off, it like lets you go into the world. I'm kind of like, there's just Pokemon running around everywhere, and I don't know if I should be because you can switch between a Pokeball or actually like an empty Pokeball or throwing a ball with an actual Pokemon, engaging in battle, and I'm like, how do I make a decision from Pokemon to Pokemon as to whether I should be battling it or...
You do it all. That's literally the objective, is to catch them all, research them all. That's the game.
And it's strange to me.
It's not them all, though.
Well, all the ones in the game.
Yeah, all the ones in this game, which I heard is like 200
Nick, how many shinies do you have?
I'm like 4.5 hours into this game. What do you mean?
You haven't done any mass outbreaks or anything to get some shinies?
I don't know what that means, Nolan.
The first couple hours of this game are really bad, but
they're this is super tutorial heavy. Like, I didn't get past the tutorial until last night.
Have you? So you haven't like beaten a gym leader yet or anything?
No. It's not that kind of game anymore.
There's no gyms.
It's a very
where do you
very
get
different
badges?
Game. This is like a stealth action game.
What?
Like Pokemon are attacking you in the wild. You have a dodge. You sneak up on Pokemon, throw Pokeballs at them and like catch them automatically sometimes.
Okay,
Brad,
that makes sense. Hold on, hold on. I want to. Yeah, exactly. Like Brad, that makes sense. Hold on, Nick. I want you to say what you're going to say. But what I think he's trying to get at, Brad, is if there's no gyms and there's no badges and there's no Elite Four, what are you doing?
You're making the Nick, Pokedex, the first Pokedex or whatever for the Sinnoh region.
This is literally a world that has everyone in the world is like they don't even know what Pokemon are. Like this is the world before.
They're scary as fuck.
Yeah, this is the world where people don't really understand Pokemon yet. The Pokemon have not become a part of everybody's daily life. So you are trying to research Pokemon to make people feel more comfortable with Pokemon. Like people, first of all, it's hilarious, but like people in this world describe Pokemon as terrifying. And
some of them have red eyes.
I mean, honestly, if there was a giant flaming fire-breathing lizard, I'd probably be scared of it.
And then there's like, a Bidoof.
But then you go to the beach and it's all Bidoofs and like fucking Pichus.
Sometimes giant Bidoof with red eyes. And alpha. Yeah. And they attack you on sight and they're like scary. And they attack humans.
Are there like cities in this game?
Well, there's one big town hub, so we're very early, so I don't know.
Yeah, everything.
No, wait. Are there no other trainers?
No, I mean there are some people scattered throughout the world who have.
You were asking the wrong people.
Yeah, you are probably asking the wrong people, but like there are several people that I've run into so far that seem to be like have created a relationship with a Pokemon, right? And like so like they're like the early Pokemon trainers, right? But they don't call them trainers yet. They don't everything has been kind of recontextualized as if Pokemon never existed almost in this game. So the whole point of the game is you were trying to fill out the first Pokédex and research all these Pokemon. And that is what fills all of the activities, because to fully research a Pokemon, there are a number of random like tasks or research tasks that are associated with it. So you have the more you catch, the more points you get, the more you battle, if they use a specific attack.
Wait, the more of a single Pokemon that you catch?
Yeah, I have like 8 Bidoof.
Is that a thing that like
the different ways of catching them too?
That's very much like a Pokemon Go sort of thing, though, right? They didn't used to do that.
So did they? No, this is all new. Yeah. So you get awarded like extra like points, or like you're filling out the checklist of like not just catching, but also like the different ways of like sneak up on this Pidgey or whatever and throw a Pokeball at him and catch him without him even noticing you're there, and like do that a certain amount of times, like. And you're getting these research points and filling out your Pokedex, and that's sort of the loop of the game.
Okay. And you have to like garrote a Mr. Mime.
You better catch this fucking.
We're not that far. I've not.
If you come across one, you should, because if you don't,
so hold on. So
clearly, giant red-eyed Mr. Mime could just beat you to death when he sees you.
Dude, could just step on you.
Clearly, you fail in your endeavors, because if I recall, in Pokemon, Red and Blue. Half of these Pokemon aren't even known. So clearly you don't do a good job indexing all these Pokemon, because you don't even know a bunch of them.
Well, I think maybe the harder truth to swallow is that you weren't really doing anything, and Professor Oak was just like, "Here you go, kid. Go fill in this book.
Go
get the fuck out of my face."
What sucks about this conversation is that me and Nick are playing, and we almost know nothing about Pokemon, and Crispy and Nolan know about Pokemon, and they know nothing about this game, and it's like,
well, maybe that's why we're not playing it.
What does that tell you?
But I will say, coming from this game with a perspective,
if I'm not getting fucking beat up by Team Rocket every couple hours, like what is the incentive for me to play?
Well, can I give you the perspective of someone who's like never played a Pokemon game, really? Like literally, I've never finished a Pokemon game. I've never played a Pokemon game for more than like 15 hours, and even then, I probably tried 2 or 3. So my biggest knowledge of Pokemon comes from, outside of just hearing people talk about it over the years, is watching like a couple of seasons of the show, maybe not even full seasons.
Yeah.
So it was a game that started off kind of dull, but now has become kind of addicting because I feel like maybe there's enough like neat quality of life improvements they made. At least I've heard to like kind of make things snappy and easy.
Oh,
Like you have like at any given time like 50 Pokeballs, and when you run out, you could just craft more because they're just things you throw at things to like catch them, and you're like missing them. It's like a fucking shooter and stuff. You can miss your Pokeball
if
shot,
you
so you need
throw
to
a
have a lot of them.
Pokeball, if you throw a Pokeball and you miss, that breaks
It's
or
gone.
something.
Yeah, it's just gone. Like I
Yeah.
have a mount for getting around this world like a lot quicker, which is good because at first it was kind of
Like a
slow and clunky
bicycle.
getting up hills and stuff. But you're traversing like a land more spread out and open, kind of like a Breath of the Wild. And at first I was like, what am I doing? I don't care about researching. I just got to fight these things a bunch of times. But it sort of morphed into a game where you're like making a lot of like checklists in your head as you go out to like collect Pokemon, where you're like, oh, I'm a little too under level to fight that alpha, and I want to catch that Pokemon over there, but it kept running away from me, and I need to go back because my Cyndaquil got knocked out, and I want to make sure he's getting experience. And
Does
while I'm there, maybe I'll buy some materials so I can like craft this other thing I was trying to do out in the field. And it becomes that sort of game where mental checklists, addictive, and I think that's the hook of this game, right? It's just fun
sure.
It
to do
is.
the
It is.
core loop of what new
Is
Pokemon is now.
is there much in that loop incentivizing you to like train up Pokemon that you have caught? Like I mean, I
Yeah,
get to
because
evolve them, but like are you like because in Pokemon it was all about catching them all, obviously, but like that was kind of the meta goal around the real goal moment to moment, which was like building a strong team and taking on gym leaders and things like that. So you always had this like goal of like, oh, I need to grind out a few more battles to get my team set the way I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go fight this gym leader, so I need to get a Pokemon of this type to and level it up. So like, you know what I'm
you're
saying? Like,
incentivized to do that because you need to do all of it. And when you go back to town and talk to the professor, you get like you get like stuff from turning in your new found like knowledge and research. You're
You get
getting
to see these
money,
meters
and
fill up.
you get meters that
Hmm.
fill up and money and stuff, and you're like, oh, this feels good, let's go out and get more. This is a very different experience, a very different
is it
loop.
really about fighting other trainers?
I mean,
That
so again, I am
I'm,
early,
I'm
but there's
currently in a boss fight right now with a big. I don't know if it's a.
Oh,
I
well,
don't know anything
yeah,
about
that's good.
Pokemon lore, but like it's a big. It's like I'm fighting a. It's like a Monster Hunter battle where he's doing like he has attack patterns, and
Yeah.
I'm like dodging and shit and try and like literally throwing things at him like it's a fucking shooter until I get his health down to a threshold to where it's a good time to like throw a Pokemon out and do like a little battle, and then he kills a couple, and then I goes back to the Monster
Oh,
Hunter battle.
wait, what? Really?
You're,
Like you're sitting there fighting
I'm
him
throwing
yourself,
bombs. I'm throwing bombs at a fucking Monster Hunter
and
boss.
then you're like, "Hey, Pokemon, get out here and help me for a second."
Yes,
And then you
yes,
do a little battle, and like
yes.
that is kind of
hmm.
cool. Like that is cool, but
And
like,
if
yeah,
you're
that is
watching the
really
footage
cool.
right now, I am actually about to get into what would be like a traditional
At least I
like
assume that's
trainer
cool. It
fight.
You
sounds
can
cool.
walk around in a
Yeah.
battle,
So
like
that's what I've been
even
trying to
when
get to.
it's turn based.
So
So
that's the
it is
biggest
very
thing that
much
this game
Monster Hunter.
does.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that this game does, from at least so far for me, is that it finally changes the way you engage in battles. And like, so like you seamlessly go from open world to battles, and you can still move around in the world like you normally would while your two Pokemon are fighting. And it's the days of like going into those like static screens where like like they're apart from each, like opposite each other, and they're like moving static images and doing these really
Right.
lame attacks. Like those
Right.
days are over. Like, this is all very seamless, and
Which I know
that
was like
feels
really.
super refreshing.
Yeah, I'm sure that's great, and I know that that has been something that was really important to people for a long time, that they try to get there. I I I don't know that I agree with that as a priority, but I mean it looks cool. And
As someone who
this
hasn't
is
played
weird.
since like
It, did
Sapphire,
anyone
it's a pretty shocking change for me,
did anyone
anyways.
play Sword and Shield?
No,
I did not know.
I've never played
Somebody
Pokemon.
did because we did have a show or two about it.
I think Ed talked about
The
it
last
on
time,
the
the
show.
last time I really engaged with Pokemon was like that couple of years where it was like Pokemon Go and then Pokemon Let's Go and like the Pokemon movie, right? Or Detective Pikachu. And everything that I was getting from like kind of a story standpoint from all that stuff was that like Pokemon as a whole was really like the Pokemon company was really trying to get away from this like idea of like comparisons to dogfighting, you know?
Yeah.
Like they were really trying to get away from this aesthetic of like a trainer catching a bunch of Pokemon, training them, and then battling them against other, because like that happens. That didn't happen for a long time in Pokemon Go. It barely I mean, it kind of happens in Let's Go, but like so much more of that game is just about catching a Pokemon and not like weakening it or like hurting it, you know? And then like in the movie, it's like you get one trainer battle and it's like super sketchy. Like everyone's like, this is really illegal. Like it feels like a dogfight in that movie.
I mean, isn't it an underground fighting arena that they do it in?
Yeah, it's underground. It's like underground trainer battles where they're like betting on it and shit, and it's like super violent and like really not cool, and like the police busted up and everything. Like the whole thesis of that movie was like the era of like battling Pokemon for our entertainment was like savage, and we're beyond that now. You
Crispy,
know?
I think the pendulum has swung back in the other direction.
Yeah.
Because you are still training Pokemon and fighting them very much like you would a traditional Pokemon. Like I don't think they've shied away. I mean,
well, it's not that I think that is inherently on its own like a bad idea or like a bad thing for them to do, but I was wondering if that really was like how committed they were to that kind of aesthetic, you know?
Yeah.
Is that something they were really just kind of like softening the edges for their big like Hollywood movie, and now that like we're just back to making mainline Pokemon games, they're like, no, let's go even more violent. Let's put some blood in there.
It's a little bit different because the thing with this, Crispy, is in the movie you're not gonna have two Pokemon fight and have it be like look super boring. You'd have to have them, go all out. Which, if I recall, I only saw the movie once. But, they kind of do that fighting in the cage or whatever.
Well, they do.
So it would be kind of violent, but in this, like, you don't have to necessarily do that. So I can see why they don't mind doing it here, because like, oh, they used water gun and it shoots a beam, and the other one's just like, no, you hit me, and then they keep going. They don't look like they're covered in like blood and bruises and stuff.
Right, they have a lot of that stuff in the movie, but the script is written in such a way that it's like it's not people just doing this for fun. It's like we're trying to save the world, like, you know what I mean? And yeah, I get what like this is a cartoony kids graphics game, so it doesn't matter. I don't know. I'm not saying. Yeah, I don't know.
I do think Breath of the Wild maybe changed their plans in a number of ways, and this, like, suddenly the appeal of trying to make Pokemon into what it is now and like chasing that Breath of the Wild like experience, it was kind of inevitable that like that core component of Pokemon was kind of essential, because what do you do in this world if not train them to fight other? You know what I mean? It's
if this is a world. Can I ask you some really granular questions that might not be interesting to you at all?
Those are my favorite.
So you said that this is a world that's like they've never heard of Pokemon. Pokemon are a new phenomenon, and everyone's freaked the fuck out, right? Yes. Did they have just like animals before this, or is the fact that there's other living things besides humans what's freaking them out? Or like, were there cows one day, and then all of a sudden all these like Pokemon cows came in and killed all the regular whatever, and killed them all, and now it's just Pokemon cows.
Also, why is there Death Mountain in the background?
No. Hang on, no. My question,
Crispy.
Yes.
I have not seen a single animal in this game that was not a Pokemon. So,
really?
So obviously that means that they eat Pokemon. So,
or they're vegetarians.
I was definitely eating meat at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't tell you what kind of meat.
I'm not Chris Davis. They're vegetarians, but they see that mushroom on the back of Paris, and they're like,
yeah.
Okay, what's your second granular question if you have one?
I mean, that was that was the big one, and yeah, I mean, you can answer the Death Mountain question. What's up with that?
I don't have an answer for that either. I mean, I'm sure that's story-wise.
Arceus, probably, right?
Yeah, probably.
I mean, it's in the title.
So, but yeah, as far as the mechanics of the fighting goes, is it still like that traditional, class-based and rock paper scissors esque kind of combat?
They've pretty much just recontextualized it by freeing. They've changed the perspective and made the camera movable and the character movable, but like at its core, you're still, each Pokemon has 4 attacks, and you can as they level up, they earn new attacks, and you can assign new attacks to the different Pokemon or whatever. But yeah, when you're actually in battle, you are choosing between 4 different attacks, and you're trying to pick the best opponent, element wise to it's
obviously it's still turn based. It's not real time.
Yes. In fact, when you hit Y on the controller, it pulls up a turn order, so you can see, and depending on the Pokemon stat, if their speed is super high, their stat may be high enough that they actually get to go twice before you get to go once. You know what I mean? So like, there's a few twists. I don't think they've done in the past like that, but it's maybe a little bit deeper than it's been before, but for the most part, it's very traditional in that sense. It's just everything around it has been completely recontextualized. And I think we've talked a lot about the general flow, like what this is and how it's different, but like I think it's starting to get its hooks in me. I think I'm enjoying it. It's those opening hours
once you get
are
the horse
rough.
Once you get the horse or the whatever it is, the Pokemon that you ride like a horse.
Ponyta?
No. That's exactly what Nolan said. No, it's not the Ponyta.
Yeah. It feels a lot.
That's what I would know.
It feels a lot better to get around the world. Everything's real snappy. Like you hit the plus button and it instantly appears under your ass, and you're just getting around like quick and snappy and that's good.
Right, because it's the baby game.
I mean, it is kind of a baby game. You know what's weird though? Like me having no Pokemon knowledge means that like I don't know how to counter like anything. Like everyone knows that stuff. Like, oh, it's a rock Pokemon. For years I've been heard, dumbass, you should be using this. But I don't know, and I'm getting like my ass kicked because I don't
super intuitive.
I don't. There's like stuff like Ghost and Psychic.
Yeah,
I don't know
what the dark
Ghost. There's like 18 different.
Oh wait,
classes.
you use Ghost to attack Psychic.
Leaf is, I guess, good against. I know Fire is probably good against Leaf, but what is Leaf good against? I don't fucking know.
Water.
How do you, what like
the trio? The 3 starters. The 3 starter grass is Leaf. There is no Leaf.
What do you use against Rock?
Water.
I've been using grass attacks against rock, and it's been working quite well. But even though I know that's not
water. What is flying good at?
Oh my god!
Flying is good at attacking. I think fighting and normal.
Normal.
I think
there is one thing I want to mention about.
I don't fucking know.
Sorry, I'll look at the chart. They literally post a chart in like the tutorial menu, and I'm looking at it, and there's so many types. I'm like, I bet people know all that stuff by heart, but I don't. There's one aspect of the combat system that I think is pretty cool, which I think is new for Pokemon, and that's that first of all, it shows you like a turn order of like when the Pokemon is going to go. And the reason they show you is because you have skills that can manipulate that turn order. Did Nick already talk about that?
Nick already talked about this, yes.
Okay. The reason I wasn't paying attention is because we're on Red Alert over in Discord right now. Not for something that y'all are interested in, but there are these new like Final Fantasy Tactics like figures that are like fancy and expensive, and they're on for pre-order now, and I'm trying to figure out like, is this something that I need to...
Is that the face you were just making a few minutes
ago?
Pre-order
immediately.
I want to. Why wouldn't you tell me?
This? Now I got
back to the topic. I would say, Brad, that I do like that they give you that turn order thing because yes, and oddly enough, I was actually having a conversation with Bernadette the other day about Pokemon and about how when I was younger, the goal was enemy HP 0, and that's all I was going for. And so often when I would, Pidgey is about to learn, Swift, not Swift, like what's a like Tail Whip or something like that. I'm like, well, Tail Whip, that doesn't do any damage. I don't want that. And so when I was younger, it was all about that. But now that I'm older, I realize, some of those moves actually, Sand Attack is very important, because when you lower your enemy's accuracy, it means that you could potentially lower it to where they only have like a 1 in 5 chance of hitting you, which is pretty beneficial. Now, granted, since you're not really doing trainer battles and stuff in this, I don't know how relevant that is.
You are.
I mean,
maybe it might.
I know, Nick. I know. Trust me, I know. But that's what I'm saying. Is so the ability to be able to do stuff like that, like use Tail Whip or use Leer or something like that, and you can see in real time how that potentially is going to affect that is kind of interesting.
We're adults now. We can use those boring attacks because now we know what they mean and what their importance is.
It's cool I understand strategy now, not just enemy HP 0.
Yeah. It's cool to I mean, I'm the combat system is really simple, but it's already immediately more interesting than the combat systems I have seen when I dabbled in Pokemon in the past, where I guess that was just knowledge of the elements or whatever. So that's cool. I mean, there's definitely times where I've strategically manipulated the tournament. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention to Nick.
It's all right. We're gonna. Well, I'm sure this will come up again in a future show, so we can move on. Because, like I said, we're still very early in this game, so a lot can change. But very early on, it's making some pretty substantial changes that are definitely worth mentioning. I have one more game I want to mention that I've been playing quite a bit of. Well, not a ton of. I've been trying to finish Far Cry 6, to be totally honest.
What?
But hey, don't say anything, Brad. Just keep it to yourself. I've been playing
a video game. I'll just say it for him.
I'm just trying to fucking finish it. But I played like 6 hours of Nobody Saves the World, which is the new game from Drinkbox, the guys that made Guacamelee and Guacamelee 2. And this is on Game Pass. Another beautiful game on Game Pass. And let me tell you, I love this game. In fact, I'm thinking about this game when I'm playing Far Cry 6. So that should say something.
You're a horse.
Okay, so this and Brad, I may need a little bit of your help here.
What?
I know you haven't really played this yet, but
I will say that this is a game that absolutely was super excited about. I intend to play a whole hell of a lot of. I do love the creators of Severed and Mutant Blob's Attack.
I forgot. Yeah.
Mutant Blob's Attack, but I've been focusing on Game of the Year stuff. The only reason I played some Pokemon was because I knew I was going to be on this podcast tonight. But yeah, I'm still working on Ace Attorney.
The reason I said I kind of wanted your help talking about this to some extent is because it has been compared to, in some regards, a Diablo-like, and I've never really played a game like Diablo before, so I'm a little inexperienced.
First of all, I don't think there's any loot or RPG systems in this game. So, but it is that type of clicky dungeon crawler. The dungeons are procedurally generated, right? So that is very Diablo.
I mean, there are RPG elements. I mean, so the kick of this game essentially is that you wake up at the beginning of this game and you are you are quite literally a nobody. You can't remember who you are. You're this basically blank slate of a person. And you find this magic wand, and there's this, the world's about to end. You find this weird magic wand, and you realize you could start turning yourself into all of these different things. And as you progress through the game, you explore this big open map, like Zelda-like map, right? And you're going through dungeons that are kind of scattered all over the place. And you're unlocking forms. And each one of these forms, which are, you'll see me several times, I switch, I pull up it looks like a weapon wheel, but you're switching between the different forms. All the different forms have different abilities. They have different ways of interacting with the world. They have different ways of attacking. Like you'll see, I use the horse a lot. So I'm this little horsey running around. And the funny thing about the horse is he has this really powerful kick attack. That's his standard method of attacking. But the only way to use it is you have to turn around because it's a back kick. Because that's what a horse does. So every time I go to approach an enemy, I have to remember to turn around and then hit the attack button, and it can push enemies back and that kind of thing. But I say there's RPG elements because there's all these different forms, right? And also each one of these forms as you use them, they gradually get stronger and stronger. They have different attacks that unlock. You collect items that allow you to unlock new abilities, and then at some point you get to a point where you can start mixing and matching those abilities. You can start, if you, like, you'll see my horse can fire arrows for some reason because I leveled up my ranger ability, and then once I had unlocked it on the ranger, I got to this point where I could choose an attack from another character and put it onto something else. So suddenly I was like, I really like my ranger's bow attack, or the arrow barrage attack. Why not just give it to my horse? And then all of a sudden you can do things where you like accentuate that with like poison. So like now I have a horse that fires poison arrows.
And there's build potential. That's exciting.
Yeah, there's tons of build potential, and like I have almost an entire like weapon wheel worth of forms, and there's still like tons of forms buried in that, because you can kind of see like the shadows of those additional forms you're eventually going to unlock in like the skill tree type thing, right? So like there's tons of forms I haven't even seen or unlocked, but like all the different forms are unique. They're fun in different ways. They have different like movement speeds too. So like sometimes I'm like, I want to just move fast, so that's why I switch to the horse a lot. That's why I switch to the rat a lot. And the rat is so small, he can go into like tight spaces. So I if you're watching the screen, I like squeeze in between these two crates that I couldn't get to otherwise, and all of a sudden there's treasure back there. So it's all about exploring the world, exploring these dungeons, using these different forms in battle, and choosing the right forms to allow you to fully explore. Which is a super addicting loop, and it's all like incredibly snappy and super fun, and the humor is just fantastic. The game is so colorful. I honestly, quite honestly, I kind of love everything about this game so far. I'm really, really having a good time with it. And the forms are just, there's so much variety to them so far, and I'm still like so early in the game. There's a little slug, and you can move the slug around.
Pretty OP. I heard the slug's OP.
He leaves a snail trail, and if anybody walks onto the snail trail, they move slower and they take more damage. So you can like circle enemies and like then go ahead, and then they'll just like, to get to you, they'll just cross the line across the snail trail, and all of a sudden everybody's all slowed down, and then I can switch to my horse and charge through them. It's super fun, and also each one of the forms, like the entire time you're playing, no matter what form you have equipped, you have challenges that are constantly being rated. So you earn experience by like completing these challenges. So like I switch to the horse, all of a sudden it's like plow through 10 enemies using the charge attack in one charge. So if you do that 10 times, you'll earn a big chunk of experience. So like you're constantly pulling up this little side menu to see what challenges you have in the docket, and then trying to, while also doing all these other things, trying to like fill those meters up. So like every time you fill up a meter, you complete a challenge, you get to hit a button and redeem it for experience and treasure and stuff. And like it's just super satisfying. It's super snappy, and I don't know. I'm totally in love with this game so far. Chris Davis looks like he has a question. I think you're muted.
I need to unmute myself. That would help.
Yes, that would help.
Mechanic question. So you're low on health in this footage as your horse. If you were to hit 0 hit points, does your character die, or do you just lose access to the horse for a while?
The character dies. I mean, it wouldn't make sense to do otherwise, because you have so many different forms. You would never die. I mean, you would never like be in danger of like completely running out of forms, because
to kind of like game. Branch off of that question, do you have one health bar, or does everyone have like kind of?
So you have one health bar, but when you switch between them, each one of the forms has their own like general stat. So like the horse may have a general lower health, like HP value than like the knight does, but they share an HP bar. So when you switch, it just goes down proportionally to match their. So if you've taken damage as a horse, you'll still maintain that damage when you switch to the knight, but the bar itself will shrink, and everything will kind of adjust proportionally, if that makes sense.
Okay. Does the level design kind of encourage like to keep switching between forms? Is there like dedicated sections for different characters, or?
No. I mean, there's a lot, like in this dungeon alone, there's like 4 or 5 different situations where I had to switch to a different form, because like you'll see enemies that have like little like icons above their heads. Like the purple icons mean before they can take any damage, they have to be poisoned. So all of a sudden I needed to switch to the rat. that delivers poison damage, and then once that's done that, I can switch to any other form I want and try and do as much damage as possible. And then there's just exploration. Like there's certain things you can't get to, even out in the open world too. Like there's like bodies of water, and I couldn't get across the bodies of water. All of a sudden, I unlock this turtle form. The turtle can swim, so now I can get across, and it opens up entirely new areas. I found secrets hidden behind waterfalls. Like it's just a really it's really well designed. They do a lot to encourage you to be switching between all these forms. So like it's really fun and addicting trying to every time you level up and you unlock a new form. It's like, how am I going to use this? This is really cool, and like because they get you, it eventually gets you to that point where you have so many options and you're seeing all the different effects that these forms have, and you can suddenly start cross pollinating with different abilities. It creates this like really cool synergy, or it has the potential to create really cool synergy between all these different forms and stuff. So really, really, really digging this game. And again, this is another one that's on Game Pass. So like if you have Game Pass on PC, it is there. It's free. I would, or quote unquote free. Highly recommend it.
I just love Drinkbox, man. Audio?
It's great, man. It's Drinkbox stuff, and they are always stellar.
Like soundtracks always surprisingly slap.
Yeah, their soundtracks. The soundtrack slaps, and the humor it's really funny. I mean, they have always had a really good grip on like their style of humor, and it works just as well here as it did in Guacamelee. I can't speak for Severed, but that is one of those games that like I know I want to go back to at some point because I love the studio. I know Brad talks about that game a lot. Yeah, man, this is.
You know what would be a good revival club game? Playing Mutant Blobs Attack. Their first two games before Guacamelee were these side-scrolling platformer games that are actually very well received as well. That I've played like demos of, but I've never actually played through them entirely, and I think it would be cool.
Right? Well, maybe Brad, when it's your turn to curate.
Okay, fuck you.
Just saying, that's how it works now, right?
Or it could be a pick outside of my poll.
Sure. Okay, so that again, that's Nobody Saves the World. It's on Game Pass right now. Check it out. Brad, before we cut to break, did you have any quick mentions you wanted to throw out there? I know you haven't been on the show in a long time, like a regular show. So I know it's
a very long time. In fact, some of the games that I talked about on the awards show last week were games that I played entirely off stream, off podcast discussion, and I was thinking like, oh, maybe I should bring one of those to talk about. Maybe I should spend 15 minutes really getting into why Chicory is awesome, right? But I'm not going to do that, right? Because I have a Game of the Year video. But then I thought about, I guess the one thing that big gaming thing that I did that is somewhat unique that I haven't really talked about anywhere is I did pick up a Quest 2 when I saw it on a good sale, which is sort of like the go-to as far as where VR is at right now, because it's the one that you don't have to hook up to a PC. It's like completely like standalone, right? And so I picked up a lot of like VR games. Luckily, they had been doing like a pretty crazy referral program where you could get $60 but referring someone else, but also the person who referred you get $60 from them as well. So it was really easy to get a lot of store credit. So I ended up buying a bunch of games that I had always wanted to try, like your typical shit like Beat Saber, but also like I played a lot of Resident Evil 4 VR, which is like legit kind of incredible. It's one of my favorite games of all time, obviously, and this is like a really cool way to play, and they do some stuff in there that is really unique, and all of a sudden it turns Resident Evil 4 into something that feels a little bit more like Half-Life Alyx, right, where you're juggling stuff that you're pulling off of your person and reloading stuff on the fly, but you're literally like it could be holding off dudes with a knife in one hand while you're pulling ammo out of your pocket with the other, right? Like it's got really cool stuff like that, and the tension of like I forgot to like cock my shotgun and there's a zombie about to get me. Stuff like that's really cool. But I also been playing a lot of kind of like music and rhythm stuff, more beyond just Beat Saber. Like there's this game called Synth Riders that's been a lot of fun.
Why do I know that name?
I don't know, because it's a popular VR game.
Oh.
But there's just real briefly, there's this game called Demio, which is it's designed to be a co-op, like a game. I've noticed a trend, like a game that you're supposed to play with other people, but it's like a dungeon crawler where you're like moving pieces and getting into tactical battles. But it's almost, you're at a table and it's like you're staring at like a D&D campaign with like a lot of, with like a really cool like setup. And it's also like a card based game, but I've only played it single player, but it seems like one that would be like great to play with other people. And as well as this game called Eye of the Temple or some shit like that, where it's a game where you're doing a lot of like movement, where you're like stepping from like one thing to another, which you think would be like very crazy in VR because you need a lot of space. And for this game, you do need a lot of space, but they do a lot of clever stuff to where it feels like you're moving all over the fucking place, but you're kind of really not moving all that much within a given space in your room. But with the way the platforms like move and stuff before you like step from one to the other, it's a really cool game. And both those games came out this year. So I wish I had spent more time playing some of these VR experiences that I picked up that were 2021 games, because I think they could be considered for like my game of the year videos and stuff. But alas, it is still, I mean, the household I'm in right now is hard to play VR, but I will say that the Quest 2 makes it like easier than ever, especially if you just want to be like, dude, I just want to get in like 10 minutes of Beat Saber because it's like the only, physical activity I can do today. Like that style of VR is like perfect for that.
Can I ask a really dumb question?
Yeah.
Since I've actually, so the Quest, you're not connecting it to a PC.
You can though. Yeah, you can get a cable to connect it to directly, so you can still play stuff like Half-Life Alyx. But they also have a thing like, they have this thing called AirLink where you can connect to your PC over Wi-Fi, and it's like you're streaming the game to the headset, to where so you can still play like VR games that are only on a PC like Half-Life Alyx to your device with no cables, and it works better than you think it would, like surprisingly so. I mean, it's definitely like the easiest like user experience and like most versatile product on the market, which is why like they're selling extremely well, especially if around the holidays. So I'm very happy that I picked this up for like a really good price. I think I got mine for $200, and with these referrals that I did, where I got like so much store credit, it felt like a no-brainer, honestly.
So when you do plug it into the PC though, is it like, does the quality go up suddenly?
Yeah, because the PC power is what's powering the game. You're literally like playing games from Steam or the Oculus Store on your PC, just like you would any other headset.
That sounds cool.
Yeah,
I like that. All right,
Pistol Whip is so good. They had a campaign that came out this year that's like it's like a Western themed, and they had like that Borderlands 2 like intro theme song. Like they have songs as you're like playing these levels, but instead of like Beat Saber where you're whacking things, you're like shooting dudes, and it's like very, very cool. Like very cool. So yeah,
that sounds cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell you what, let's take a break. When we come back,
we can talk about more games when we come back.
We can. Do you have more games you want to talk about?
Yeah, just some updates.
So we'll do some quick mentions when we come back. We got a couple news topics, and we got some community feedback and questions and stuff to answer. So if you're watching us live, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
I now know how this works, and it pleases me greatly.
Brad has an erection.
Perfect start for a perfect segment. Let's get started. Before we get too far, Nolan, you said you had some quick updates game-wise you wanted to mention. So
yeah, just a little
what you got?
I finally got all 4 endings in the Forgotten City.
Oh.
Nice.
So I completed all of that.
Stopping with
the last one's pretty wild, huh?
Well, it depends on which one, Nick.
The last,
because there's 4 of them, and so if you got the last one, I guess that is the real ending.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm pretty happy with my ending, so I think I'm good.
All right.
Wait, Nick, you didn't get the?
No, stop talking.
You got a
Keep
happy
going.
ending,
Keep
is
going.
what you're saying?
I agree. So I still been playing more Dodgeball Academia. Haven't finished that, but getting farther. Still a fun game. Very joyful. Probably more Pokemon than the current Pokemon game, to be honest, from what I've been hearing. And then the other one was so Stardew Valley. Everyone knows that game.
We are
Brad's
aware,
played a bit
yes.
of it. Bernadette and I have been playing it recently, Co-op Farm, but finally we got to the new content. So this past year, actually 2021, I think, kind of earlier in the year, they released like a big patch with a lot of like kind of post-game content, and now I'm starting to finally get into that. So there's like a whole new island you can go to with like almost like a second farm that you can start with more like tropical fruits. So like pineapples and banana trees and mango trees and a whole new kind of like a new set of people, new things you're doing. So there's like kind of a new dungeon that you can go through every day that starts adding new stuff. Like you can start combining rings. One of the problems with Stardew is you can only have 2 rings on, which doesn't make sense. You have 10 fingers, but you can now start combining some of them. So instead of having in theory, that makes upwards of 4 rings if you combine a bunch of rings. But then you can also upgrade like your equipment, like your tools. So you can if you're familiar with Stardew, one of the things you do is you go around the world, and there are these spots that you can use your hoe on, and like artifacts will pop up. Well, there's like a manipulator that will make it more likely that a good artifact will show up. There's stuff that can potentially make your watering can have infinite water. So there's some pretty cool stuff that you can do that kind of potentially used to be kind of like mods, but now it's kind of baked into the game with this new cavern you're going through, collecting these little like crystal shards. So it's pretty interesting. There's actually a lot more going on. So it's kind of exciting that I've played however much with Bernadette, and all of the stuff I've been doing, it's stuff I've seen, but now we're finally in like new territory to me. Like I don't even know what's going on.
Can I ask you about Stardew Valley as someone who's never played it?
I've played probably like 300 hours.
So, yeah. Okay. So the one of the basic parts of that game is that it's kind of got 2 routes. It's you save the town from Jojo Mart,
you either restore the community center or you back Jojo Mart and kind of boost them. Yeah.
And obviously Jojo Mart, that's the evil route. But correct. Like is in the years of post content that have come out, has any of it been really structured around the idea of going the evil route and supporting Jojo Mart?
To my knowledge, no. The benefit to being a dick and saving Jojo Mart and forsaking the community center is that it's easy. You're taking the easy route.
Okay.
Because all you have to do for that is just make a bunch of money. The reason that you might want to go down that route is because literally it's just you can make money in any way you want. Give Jojo Mart the money, and there you go. The traditional good route where you're saving the community center is all around bundles, and the bundles require you to collect certain items, potentially of certain quantities. And the thing that makes that difficult is sometimes if you don't get them, sometimes they're seasonal. So if you miss a season, you literally have to wait an entire year before you can finish that bundle. So that's why it kind of is more difficult. But that being said, like I don't think anybody is completing this game in a year. In the game, that's 28 days a season. So it's not like the end of the world, but then also it's one of those things where you kind of feel like an asshole when you save Walmart and forsake the small town. So yeah. I've never gone the Jojo Mart route. I know plenty of people have, but I personally haven't. So
I asked because one of the guys that runs Master Pancake has been live streaming, and he's doing the Jojo run.
You're talking about I had his name a second ago. Not Joey. It's just with a J, right?
I think so.
I can't remember his name, but yes, I know who you're talking about.
Jojo fan.
Yeah, exactly. Him and and John made a butt.
JoJo.
Him and John made a butt on screen the other day. Because they were doing Starship Troopers, Crispy, and there's a lot of nudity in that film, but obviously they can't show that. And so during one of the scenes, to replicate that, since they're both bald, they both kind of put their heads together on screen to make a butt. It was pretty fun. But anyway,
Starship Troopers shower scene, teenage, young.
I remember that.
I think we all remember that.
90 something. I can't remember.
Let me stop you there because this is a dangerous way to get sucked back into another long conversation about Starship Troopers, which, believe it or not, has happened already once in the past month or so on this podcast.
That's true.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's what I've been playing.
Sweet. All right. Well, we have a couple news topics we want to talk about today. I think I want to start with this, maybe the less relevant one here, but they dropped the first trailer for the Halo TV series, and I want to know what y'all think. This is coming out in March on Paramount Plus. I know Nolan's not a big Halo fan. I don't know I don't know where Brad falls on that.
I'll say this: it looks like what I imagined a Halo television show would look like.
So I feel like you're about to head down the route of you think it looks bad.
Yeah, and that's pretty much where my commentary ends.
That's kind of what I feel like. Crispy, where do you fall on this?
I mean, I'm into it. I don't think it looks particularly good, but I'm into it.
Now, when you say that, when you make a statement like I don't think it looks particularly good,
I think like
visually or
yeah. Or... I mean, I think that like there's no way to judge. I don't know. There's no way to really judge like the writing of the thing, so that's not obviously what I'm talking about.
It's gonna be bad. I'll tell you that much.
Yes,
but
what?
You
like a lot of really bad things, Brad. Like, who cares? Like,
did you post a video of like
what I'm saying is like
what
like. Yeah, like what the fuck? Like who? Like, my opinion about the show is the same thing with like these Star Wars shows. Of like, since I don't know, man, I don't want to get into this. It's like okay, so if this isn't like the best TV show I've ever seen, then it was a waste of fucking time. Like, who fucking cares?
No one's saying that.
No, I know. So, like, saying it's bad, it looks bad.
No, I said the writing will probably be bad.
I mean, okay. We'll see, I guess. Like, that's... Again, that's what I was, like, in the middle of saying, there's no way to judge it yet. And you're like, no, but it will be. Well, okay, fine, thank you.
I mean, sometimes...
Who knows?
How much did they show in this trailer? Sometimes in these early looks, there's enough like, lines of dialogue or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's like for real. Like you're not even really like building from like a super strong base or anything. Like Halo has a lore to it. There's a bunch of stories. There's a bunch of books that they've done, and I like the world that they've built. I like a lot of the stories that they've told in that world. Do I think it's the best? No. Do I think it's interesting? Yeah, for sure. I would watch a show of it if it's halfway decent. And I mean, right now it looks like, I don't know. I mean, it looks like you got a bunch of people in armor and helmets walking around and talking and doing stuff, which, I mean,
that was
the Mandalorian does that.
Yeah, that was an aesthetics trailer. That wasn't like a story substance thing.
I mean,
yeah, but
it's hard to...
Yeah, I don't know. I the story's gonna obviously deal with like the Forerunners in some way and the Covenant and Halo and like all those elements that we already know are gonna be in there and they're gonna be mixed around. Some stuff's probably gonna be changed a little bit. I mean, Cortana looks pretty different. And it's just like I like who cares if it's not amazing? Like it looks like it might be fun. It looks like it might be whatever.
Expects it to be amazing though.
But like, it's
I mean,
weird. This whole. I'm sorry. This is such a thing.
Can this be a show that doesn't have a lot of action?
I doubt it can.
I mean, I don't know.
Be that.
I mean, I think it will. I don't think it's reasonable to assume it won't.
Okay, because the part where like Master Chief is like fighting 2 Elite, I'm like, this looks really cheap. I hope there's not too much of this.
See, like this is what drives me crazy. You know, I can't. Maybe I shouldn't react to Brad's commentary because Brad and I are so. No, I mean
it's just
so
that
frustrating because it's just one of those things that's like I watch something and I get excited about it, and Brad watches the same thing and he has a completely opposite reaction to it, and then we talk about it and I'm just like, I don't even know if I should, like, we're just clearly diametrically opposite on so many things. I just don't know.
How about the fact that it's the 26th century and there's people running around with AK-47s?
Yeah, if it makes you feel any better, I'm not going to watch it. So once it comes out, you won't have me to talk to about it.
Just like, no, I mean, honestly, the thing that rubs me, the thing that there's so many. I find it so hard. This is so hard to articulate. I find it so frustrating that, like, we are so I don't know what's the right word. Like, part of me wants to say like spoiled or entitled as people who, like, we watch something that, like,
I think we just have a lot of access to each other's opinion.
No. I mean, that's not even what I'm. No, I mean, it's just one of those things. Like, I can't. I'm the kind of person looking at, like, the last, like, specifically the last few seasons of Game of Thrones, for example. I look at what they managed to pull off with that show, visually speaking, and I can't even imagine saying
that show
it looked bad.
Oh, but
wait, I'm not saying Game of Thrones looked bad.
Like, let's not get into that conversation.
You said that plenty of times.
Let's not get into that conversation because that show did.
I know.
It did look bad. Oh, what I'm saying is, like, what are the stakes with Halo? Like, who cares if Halo sucks? Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, it does.
So why, what is it? Like, what, like, I don't know. Like, I guess what's the value in, like, in us talking about whether or not we think it's going to be good? I don't know if it's going to be good. I'm going to watch it. I wasn't trying. I don't know. Yeah. Why do we have podcasts?
I was making a point when I was talking about the action, because there are shows that can have, like, you know, a CG budget that's not great because, hey, it's a television show and it's just Halo, right? It's not going to have the Game of Thrones budget. And that they sort of, like, balance things out with the fact that they can't show Master Chief fighting an elite all the time because that's extraordinarily expensive and honestly doesn't look all that great, with the fact that it could have be a show with, like, a lot of drama, a lot of, like, back and forth. Game of Thrones worked, you know, for the first handful of seasons because it was, like, this a show where you could have, like, an insanely, like, intense, compelling scene of, like, two people talking in a room, right? So they when they can't blow their budget to, like, the last episode of a season, that's fine because you're there for the other stuff. What I'm saying with a show like Halo, can that other stuff that's not the big budget action that I think doesn't look great, can that be enough of a draw for an IP like Halo?
I mean, it can be. So, like, the way that trailer was going and the way they were kind of pitching an aspect of the story is that they're diving right into the aspect of the Spartan 2s are kidnapped children that were indoctrinated and genetically modified and basically tortured to turn them into super soldiers.
The very first book was about.
I mean,
the very first time they did anything that wasn't a video game, it was that story.
The Fall of Reach was, that was the indoctrination and showing that off. But what they're talking about here, and which goes into a bunch of the later books, is the fallout and consequences of that.
Sure.
So
you got all these new like volunteer Spartans, and I mean, I think that's an interesting thing to explore. I don't know where we're.
I would like to inject. I got an email from Piocht.
Can we just talk about Cortana? No, what? What did Piocht say?
He wants to know, and this is probably just me not being super familiar with Halo lore, but he said after watching the trailer, I just wonder if the events will somehow tie back into Halo Infinite, and I'm wondering if there's something in the trailer that spoke to any of y'all as to whether or not.
So that's
that suggested that this is somehow going to tie back into.
So that's very doubtful, because they have that in a blog post, I think like a week ago at this point, they came out and said this is not the same storyline. This is a new timeline with similar events and similar characters and similar situations, but they're going off and telling their own story.
So it sounds like they're taking a very similar approach as that they're taking with the Last of Us TV series, which is they're going to follow similar. There's going to be familiar events, but they're going to be told in different order, and they're going to introduce new elements and stuff that are going to separate it and make it like two different things. You can follow the TV show, you can follow the game, but they're not going to be directly connected. So like honestly, from a creative standpoint, it's probably the best way to go.
If you go off
like something similar to like Witcher show as well in that regard.
Yeah. If you go off what this trailer specifically says, it's that humanity has found out about the Halos in advance of what happens at Reach, and when just that blind jump, and they find it. So there's an active search out there for this Forerunner super weapon that can end the war. So it's definitely a large divergence from that core timeline. So any expectation of infinite content or infinite connection will be very superficial at best.
It's going to be a show with Easter eggs at best, as far as making connections to the games.
Yeah.
But back to Crispy's point, he wanted to talk a little bit about Cortana, which was maybe the thing that's garnering the most attention from the trailer. Perhaps is obviously they've changed the way she looks, and I'm wondering what Crispy's reaction to her was.
Oh, I don't know. She looks goofy as hell. like it looks goofy.
Is it just because she looks like an actual person?
Yeah, but it's also because they're doing, she's on like a CG background that they're also trying to focus to make her look small. They're trying to scale it so that she looks small. Right. So I mean, I don't know, man. It's just
there's been a very strong reaction to the way Cortana looks, but also there's only one shot in the entire trailer of Cortana.
I think my whole I don't know. You think it's like Cortana's original look is that she looks like a hologram, right? Which, okay, you can't do that because that's expensive. Sure, I guess, But on other live action TV shows, when they've had I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Fake a hologram, right?
You can fake a hologram, but it's like you're saying, how are you going to do it consistently on a budget?
The easiest way to fake a hologram, though, is to use an actual actor as opposed to creating it in CG.
Yeah, but I don't think you then go back and touch her up to look like she's glowing, I don't think you do that. I think you just do what Star Trek does, where it's when there's a hologram, when it's on, it just looks real, Yeah, or Red Dwarf. There was a cast member on Red Dwarf who was a hologram, and he just looked like a real guy, and they just didn't bother with, because it was too expensive or the technology didn't exist to try to make it look like a hologram or something like that. I don't know. I think they landed in this weird middle ground,
Yeah.
Are we getting bare feet or no?
Yeah, probably. Right? No, I don't think they are. I think Microsoft is acutely aware of that and will not be indulging in those shenanigans.
They want their fans, Microsoft.
I'm not opposed to the way she
just
looks.
Like Master Chief.
I'm not opposed to the way she looks. I mean, I'm honestly not opposed to the way any of this actually looks.
I know it's whatever.
I thought it looked fine. I mean, honestly, I thought it looked pretty good compared to what I was expecting. And I
remember when they did
changed.
Remember when Neil Blomkamp did those live action trailers around before Halo 3 came out?
Yeah.
After Halo 2. And then they were trying to get a live action movie going for the longest time, and then Peter Jackson was gonna do a live action Halo movie or something like that, and everyone was kind of oh, this is like Weta Workshops made all the props, they made the armor, and then they even started doing trailers for other games like that, like ODST and Reach and maybe Halo 3. I don't remember. Yeah, Halo 3 did a bunch of that stuff, and that was kind of oh yeah, this is what a Halo movie would look like, and it's cool. I hope they get a bit more budget and do that. It's I don't think this really looks This looks like a natural progression of that to me. I don't think this really looks like outside the range of anything we ever could have expected. Like, if you just think a Halo TV show is a bad idea to do in live action, then yeah, I mean, okay, point taken.
There's probably nothing that was going to change.
But like, if you're gonna do it, like this is kind of what I guess you would walk into expecting. And I don't like. I mean, you can make some arguments about the fact that like, you know, ILM on The Mandalorian is doing stuff like their, I forget what they call it, whatever that like soundstage tech is, where they don't have to like CG in backgrounds anymore. They just project it, but they have these like big curved screens and like high fidelity projections, so it looks better, you know.
Yeah.
And
they
you
only
can
do,
make
like,
an argument
touch ups and posts, so yeah.
Right. So I mean, I guess you could make some argument that like, oh, other people are doing shows like this but are doing it better, which yeah, okay, sure, I guess. But I don't, dude, when it comes to this kind of stuff, like I grew up on Star Trek, okay? Like I just don't fucking care if a TV show doesn't look convincing, because it doesn't have to look convincing, because if the writing's there, it will be convincing. And I've liked Halo stories before, so it's at least possible to make a good one, you know. So
on a similar note, I grew up on Buffy, and that's still one of my favorite shows ever. And that show frequently didn't.
That show looks terrible, and it's set in a high school. Like, how do you fuck that up?
But but that show pulls it off because the writing was there and the stories were interesting and the characters were interesting. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
I don't know.
All right, let's move on. The other big story this week was that Sony announced their plans to buy Bungie. And I think a lot of people right out of the gate assumed this was some kind of reaction to Microsoft acquiring Activision. But you know, I mean, I think that's the knee-jerk reaction.
Something that happens overnight.
Exactly, and I think that's the knee-jerk reaction a lot of people have just because of the timing. But obviously, these things are in the works for months and months and months, sometimes years. It's just the timing is odd that they've now chosen to announce it. So, what's y'all's reaction to Bungie? This is like, so Bungie broke away from Microsoft and went independent and made Destiny for 10 years. They signed an agreement with Activision. Is that Activision?
It was Activision.
It was Activision.
That was Activision. Yeah, okay, they were owned by Activision.
Yeah. So they had a contract with Activision. That 10-year contract is expiring for Destiny, right? And now they're being swallowed up again by Sony.
Well, yeah, it's like so they were independent and they got bought by Activision, and they were working for them, and then they bought their independence again.
Yep.
And now them and Activision just both got bought by Microsoft.
Man, I wonder if they bought their independence from Activision because they saw this deal with Microsoft coming and they didn't want to get swallowed up by Microsoft.
I don't, and you know, like I don't like, you know, none of us do, but like I really don't understand the financials of Bungie, because it is just like one developer. They don't even really publish, and they don't really work on anything more than the one game they've been doing for the last.
Well, maybe
decade.
they are. Sometimes these deals that, you know, take a long time. There's also projects that Sony probably knows about that we don't, or might know about that we don't. Maybe they're working on something big. Sometimes,
well, yeah, sure.
A sale happens because
they've got to have some kind of like
something big is coming
or something. But there was definitely like I was playing Destiny when they first split from Activision, and there was, in the next couple like content updates, there was like this kind of marked dip where it was like they were not only trying to like reinvent the philosophy of the game, because when they broke up with Activision, that's when they started saying like, hey, this is an MMO. We never really said it before, but that's how we think of this game, because Activision didn't want them to say that, right? Yeah. And when they went independent and they started embracing that philosophy and they started making changes to the game, that kind of mindset was somewhat apparent, but it was also apparent that they just didn't have the resources to like develop the stuff that they wanted to do. So you weren't getting as much of that like kind of higher end premium content. Like you weren't getting a lot of new cool cutscenes. You weren't getting like a lot of cool new like weapon models or armor models. You're getting a lot of reskins. You were getting, you know, the first thing that they released on their own, I guess, was the
expansion,
the moon, going back to the moon. Yeah.
To the moon. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was oh my god, no, let's not. and there was a lot going on there, but people at the time, the consensus I remember was it seemed a lot lesser than what people were hoping for, which is like people were hoping for more like what the last expansion was that they did under Activision, which was the Forsaken expansion. The one where Cade 6 dies. Spoiler alert.
Oh shit.
Because there's a lot of shit in that. Like, that really kind of like fundamentally changed a lot of things about the game, and then this new expansion comes along and it's kind of like, whatever. So it is weird to think that Bungie could keep themselves kind of like humming along, developing that game on their own for a few years. But I think they were probably like in a lot of trouble from the moment they let go of Activision. I think they've probably been like kind of in a free fall and haven't been able to stop themselves. And this Microsoft thing was their lifeline. You know what I'm saying?
It would certainly make sense. There'd be almost no reason financially and creatively to jump back into bed with another major publisher
and back into their original owner.
Yeah,
they were owned by Microsoft for a minute.
Yeah, I don't think they wanted to jump back in with Microsoft. So Sony obviously is the next best thing, and Sony's been striking deals with Bungie to release exclusive content for Destiny.
I mean, I guess that was it,
exclusive
right?
content for a while.
Also, just to throw this out there and be clear, like the Bungie people fondly remember from Halo, most of those like head leaders in there, they've moved on a long time ago.
Yeah.
This is essentially Bungie
leadership
2.0.
Leadership at Bungie, leadership at Activision, leadership at probably even Microsoft has changed a lot since.
It's the same thing with like BioWare. The BioWare we talk about today is not the BioWare everybody,
Yeah.
It's the same shit. Which happens. It's just the natural order of things as far as studios go. It's just you fall in love with the studio, but that studio is almost never going to stay the same. So it's only natural. But yeah, this was quite a twist. It was one of those situations where the announcement came this past week, and people were just like, "What is happening?" Just like everybody is buying everybody.
Because now's the time to buy, since everything is becoming more expensive. So do it now before Bungie costs $10 billion for some dumb fucking reason.
I think it's shocking in the moment of like, oh my god, this is a big change to the industry, but like it's not really that surprising. This is how corporate capitalism works. It's all about consolidation.
The inflation is kind of crazy though, considering Disney bought Star Wars for about the same price.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
In 2014, so almost 10 years ago.
And they did
got
also
a hell of a deal.
Sony did kind of unofficially, or I guess maybe officially, in an interview, I forgot who it was with, but somebody at Sony was suggesting that there's other acquisitions that are coming from Sony. So
exciting.
Yeah,
this is almost always bad
feel
news.
Free to acquire me whenever you want.
This is almost always bad news.
We're ready to sell out.
Unless they're rescuing classic IP from a company like Konami that's not doing anything with it. This is almost never,
Yeah.
Rescuing.
Evidently, as part of this purchase announcement, which did we even say the number? It's $3.6 billion.
Yeah, which is, and what was the Activision number? It was almost $69 billion, right?
68.7, something like that.
Yeah.
No, wait, so just for Bungie, it was 3 whatever.
Yeah, I know. It seems like a lot.
I mean, that's
But as part of this announcement, first, Bungie had a post on their website saying we are retaining full creative independence, and that Sony's going to help us publish stuff. But evidently they're not going to.
They already did that. I don't understand what that means. That doesn't.
I mean, they like to say things like they're going to retain full creative independence to quell people's concerns that Sony is now calling the shot. But the fact of the matter is, I would imagine that there's no contract that says that. I mean, I can't imagine there's a contract somewhere that says that Sony doesn't have the final say in any creative decision, right? Yeah, like
it's the same company now.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
they might give them a lot of leeway.
we don't know that. I don't know. We don't know that that's the case.
No, we don't. I mean, it just seems like it seemed
because you have to imagine at a certain point you're buying a company and you're paying just south of $4 billion for it because you want them
what they're making
and what they do and what they have, right?
But at the end of the day, they have to be comfortable putting their.
I mean,
Sony
this is
putting their name on whatever they make, right? So it's like
this is Microsoft, yeah. I mean,
but like, here's the other big thing that came from this announcement. It was there was an investor presentation, and Eurogamer provided a transcript of it. But this executive basically said that through collaboration with Bungie, Sony intends to launch 10 live service games through the March 2026.
That is specifically why they wanted Bungie, because of Bungie's experience doing this for 10 years now with Destiny.
Wait, Sony?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait. Am I confused? I thought Microsoft bought Bungie.
No. Sony bought Bungie.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I don't know where I'm at. Wow, yeah, that is weird.
So is Bungie gonna work on the Killzone revival?
Everything I said. That's why I was talking about Microsoft, and I kept saying, it's Microsoft, I guess. Blah blah blah. No,
Bungie's Killzone, maybe.
Bungie. That's right. I did know that. I don't know why I forgot that.
Well, I mean, here's the other thing that, as part of Bungie's announcement about this, they said they are continuing to work on content and expansions for Destiny 2 through the end of 2024. So for them to continue to be working on Destiny 2 7 years after launch, I mean that. Oh no.
But I don't think that's necessarily why.
It's an MMO.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why.
You got to support it, and Destiny's still incredibly popular. Real quick, before we move on.
What I mean to ask is, do you think Destiny 3 is going to be a thing, or do you think that's off the table now?
On the PlayStation 5, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
No. Bungie has already said that their future prospects, everything they're developing, is going to continue to be multi-platform.
That's what they said now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I just don't think I know we now live in a weird world where MLB The Show is being released on the Xbox, and now we're
which is weird,
which is very weird. And you know, all these Sony exclusives are coming out on PC, which is obviously Windows. The line is getting blurrier and blurrier, but I you know, we also see conversations about like Activision talking about Call of Duty will continue to be on multi-platform, but what they don't say, it'll all the stuff that's currently in development now will continue to be planned multi-platform until, you know, whatever date. They're not mentioning that part. It's like any new projects that enter into development for Call of Duty are probably absolutely going to be exclusive to Xbox and PC. I mean, that's my assumption. Or that's what I'm banking on. And I think it's kind of a similar situation here. They probably already have a lot of stuff cooking that is already committed to being multi-platform, and of course that stuff is probably going to. That's why Ghostwire Tokyo is still a PlayStation exclusive, despite the fact that it's technically owned by Microsoft. Again, very weird. It's also weird that so many of these weird things are happening concurrently.
Well, Chris, since you are the Destiny player around here,
I mean, with the caveat that I haven't played in a long time.
Yeah, but you've played hundreds of hours, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you, in your opinion, prefer Bungie to either work on a Destiny 3 or like a new IP?
Uh-oh, Crispy's in the hot seat.
I mean, that's such a weird question because it's like new IP.
It's a loaded
can
question.
Be anything.
Yeah.
Like that's such a shapeless, you know, thing to wrap my head around. Destiny 3 is a little more like, well, I could see maybe what they would change about Destiny if they did a third one.
That's like asking if you would want Tango Gameworks to make Evil Within 3 or a new IP without actually knowing what the Ghostwire Tokyo is. You know what I mean? It's
let me rephrase my question then. Do you picture yourself playing Destiny games 5 years from now?
I think if they released a Destiny 3, I would probably check it out. I don't know that they're going to do that, though, because I do know there is a lot of animosity around them even releasing Destiny 2 that I didn't really understand at the time, that I still kind of don't understand. Like, I get the argument that it was like, I spent all this time working on Destiny 1, I unlocked all this armor and all these weapons, and then in Destiny 2, they just go away and I have to start back from the beginning, and some of the weapons that I fell in love with in the first game aren't even in the second game, or they are, but they're completely different, and the combat changed, but the combat's like changed a lot multiple times since that happened, so it's like...
I mean, I'm just curious about whether you're feeling fatigue at this point.
Well, obviously I'm feeling fatigued because I don't play the game. Like, I don't play it anymore, So for me to come back, it would have to be something like it'd have to be significantly different than what it was when I left. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It would have to at least be, in my eyes, better. What better looks like, I have no fucking idea. I'm not a game designer, But I didn't have fun with what I was playing enough to keep playing when my friends got bored of it. I will say that. And when I stopped playing that is when I started playing Final Fantasy, which is great.
So, we just did 40 minutes on 2 news topics. That's got to be.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know why we talk about stuff. Like, I don't know why we have so many things to talk about when we could just talk about 2 things on a podcast and have long conversations about it.
Well, we only talked about Pokemon and Halo.
Hey, would you want to answer some questions, some viewer questions? I got viewer questions. I got listener questions.
Let's do it.
And this is a palate cleanser after the conversation we just had from Zero Skies in Discord. He asked, "What company would you want to purchase 4Player Podcast in the acquisitions world?"
Amazon.
You can listen to our podcast exclusively on Alexa.
Who's ponying up? How much cash is being ponied up?
Or Tesla.
Does that question even matter? It'd be more money than we're making now.
I think I would want Amazon or Tesla because they're owned by 2 of the richest men in the world. Facebook, if Meta wanted to buy us.
No, I don't think Meta's a thing
I don't think
anymore.
they can't afford anything right now.
Oh yeah, not Meta just fucking dropped 200.
26%. They lost $230 billion.
What was that in reaction to? I don't know what the fuck's going on.
No, the Zuck said they're pivoting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
well, what happened?
There
were 2 things. There was Facebook posted their first ever loss of users in the history of the company. And
okay, but they had last year. They had 3 billion users. They had 3 out of 7 people on the entire planet use Facebook in some capacity.
but
that
if you're
growth
an investor, if you're an investor,
I guess,
you hear
but
the
that growth is unsustainable.
The answer is any of these companies, including Facebook.
Yeah, look, finance is evil witchcraft. I get it. It doesn't reflect or accurately model reality in any way, and it gets a lot of people hurt. But I still think it's ridiculous for them to. I don't know. That's just weird. I don't. You know what? Understand the world.
Sorry, this is going unnecessarily dark.
My vote is 7-Eleven. You go in, you pick up your coffee, you can put it in a 4-player mug.
No, yeah, they could play us at the pump. You know how they have those TV screens at the pump now?
Ooh, there you go.
I watch those. I watch those little news updates that they have, and I'm like, dude, we could do that. I don't know who this person is. We can do that.
You go to
Next question,
tank and it's jet airplanes. It just starts screaming at you, and you're like,
yeah, or what if
it's just our intro to our YouTube, the old oh holy balls.
What if? Yeah, you don't know which button's the mute button. I went to a gas station the other night and they had that where the TV's really loud and somebody in Sharpie wrote mute next to one of the buttons. because that's the mute button, but it's not labeled. And then somebody else in Sharpie wrote "thanks" like next to it.
You know what that's called? You know what that's called? Environmental storytelling.
That's environmental storytelling. It's like fucking Left 4 Dead shit.
Okay. Our next question this week comes from Cyber Shannon in Discord. She writes, with the new Horizon game coming out this month, what are some key improvements you're hoping to see? If you haven't played Horizon, has the marketing around this game made you interested in checking it out?
A little bit, but bad timing. I hope they improve like the animation and stuff, which I know they have. I didn't play the first game much though.
I haven't seen much of the marketing.
I mean, they're starting to really ramp up the marketing right now. But I mean, like the things that are apparent to me, the things that are important to me, because I thought from a gameplay standpoint and a storytelling standpoint, I really loved Horizon. But I do recognize that, especially like side quests and shit, a lot of the animations like were just very stiff and staticky. And it seems like they've really improved that quite substantially with this one. So it's little things like that, but like the core gameplay, I want to see more cool machines. I want to see more cool machines that you can take down in fun and interesting ways. They had a lot of that going on. Like there were so many different kinds of the machines in the original, and like they had unique weak spots and unique weapons that you could use to exploit those weak spots, and just it got really crazy by the end. And I want to see more of that, and I have no doubt they're going to do that. Like they have there's like snakes now, and underwater swimming, dude.
Screw robot dinosaurs.
Oh,
They're
I don't
snakes.
like that.
Robot snakes, man.
Oh, robot snakes. Okay.
Yeah, robot snakes.
I thought you just meant regular ass snakes.
Oh,
no. Everything's a robot in that world. So.
Aloy's like, animals. What's this angry belt?
Regular animals.
So I mean, who here is planning on playing Horizon this month?
I'll rent it.
I had not at all given a minute of thought to that game, but I think maybe that's just my thing now. I don't think I think about games that aren't immediately available anymore.
I mean, that is
I had an epiphany.
Healthy thing.
I had an epiphany the other day when we were watching or when people were like posting those reviews of Dying Light 2, and I was like, I have been hearing about Dying Light 2 for years now. We saw it when it was originally announced at E3. Not once have I ever really given a shit about it. And then finally some reviews came out. I started watching them and reading them and was like, okay, cool. I can't wait to buy this tomorrow. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel like I won. I feel like the people who were excited all this time were suckers because you've had to like wait. I didn't wait. This is like a surprise game coming out tomorrow.
I feel personally attacked.
I mean, you're a sucker for getting excited about stuff.
What's wrong with wanting to be excited about stuff?
I mean, it's like you're anticipating something for years, and then you're
over there waiting for Thrawn to finally show up. So shit.
No, I'm excited. I want Ezra Bridger to show up.
Okay, well, whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
Our next question tonight comes from
Max Rebo.
Our next question tonight comes from Death and Taxes in Discord. This is Tack. It says, "What upcoming game has the most skewed?" Oh, this is a fitting question. What upcoming game has the most skewed hype to expectations ratio for you? No. I.e., what game are you excited for but kind of expect to be mediocre?
Oh. I mean, excited for, but expect to be mediocre. So we're excited about a game we know is going to be not great.
I mean, if you're being
no, I think I know. I think I know what he's talking about. I think it's kind of like what we were talking about with Halo, where it's like, yeah, I'm kind of excited to watch that, but I don't have any real expectation that it's going to be great. You know,
I got one coming out soon. Final Fantasy Origin Stranger of Paradise is a game that I expect to be bad, but there's a chance.
Right, but it could be cool.
These people did make Neo and Neo 2, and those are great games. There's a chance that maybe they get the frame rate under control and they haven't shown a lot of the best stuff. Like, best case scenario is that this game plays great, but is extremely stupid, so bad it's good stupid, to where it actually turns out to be a really enjoyable experience.
So Tack actually says this is the game that inspired the question.
Shit.
So would you say you would describe yourself as actively excited for that game?
I'm excited to, because it's such it's worthy of the meme. This thing is insane. It's exciting whether it's going to be a train wreck or maybe good.
I mean, if it's gonna fail, it should have the bravery to fail spectacularly.
And
right?
Trust me, if it does fail, it's already been spectacular. So
yeah.
I just want to know, is that cell phone that plays Limp Bizkit actually in the game?
Yes, that's in.
That's a real thing.
Yes, it's not a fucking meme. That wasn't edited.
If it was
real.
Tool, you'd have been like,
It is a meme.
Okay,
No,
hang on.
I would have been really disappointed in Tool.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Crispy.
Wow,
I don't know.
I guess Tool's a higher art form than video games.
I mean, were you around in
Didn't
the early 2000s?
We had this conversation during the break about video games are just slightly above ventriloquism as an art form.
I was joking, guys. I'm sorry that you're right. I should never have come on the video game podcast that I've been on for 10 years.
Stop it. Don't take. That's literally one of the funnier things you've said in your life. I don't think you should take it back.
I mean, I kind of believe it.
You said ventriloquism exists.
Right, as an example of like a lower art form. But
all right,
yeah.
Question,
Okay.
Let's go. Stranger's Paradise is a good one.
I have one.
Okay.
It might even be a controversial one.
Okay.
Batman Gotham Knights. Or not Batman.
Yeah.
It's just Gotham Knights.
Yeah, I think that's.
I'm really excited. I really want to play it. That's definitely going to be a day one buy for me. But like, in my head, I don't know, man. Like, it could just if it's even just Arkham Knight, I might feel a little burned. You know. And all I can think of is it happened with Arkham Origins. Because I did not really like that game, and Suicide Squad's coming out. And that kind of looks like the same game, but like a lot cooler.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I'm still really excited to play Gotham Knight. What? You disagree?
I have, in a similar vein, Crispy, I am incredibly hyped for this, but I also acknowledge that it's probably going to be, good at best. And that's...
To be clear, I'm not saying that it probably will be. I'm saying it's very possible it could be.
Yeah, and that's where I think the one that I'm about to mention is maybe more likely than Gotham Knights to be mediocre or good at best, and that's Hogwarts Legacy. I mean, because the studio making that game doesn't have a lot to fall back on as far as their reputation goes necessarily. It looks amazing, and I love Harry Potter, so and it's open world, and it's it's another way to kind of explore that universe, which is super exciting to me. But I readily admit that there's a really high chance that game is going to be super flawed and maybe even boring. I don't know.
I think that is the exact opposite to the question. I think that is a game that I feel pretty confident will be really cool, and I'm not hyped at all because I just don't want to be.
All right.
Can I say the Uncharted movie?
Oh, that is gonna suck. I don't know what you people are talking about.
But I think it's gonna suck.
That is gonna suck.
Gosh.
Are people who like the games
it to be the highest form of art? We're just looking for a good time.
It needs more ventriloquism. I mean, come on, Mark Wahlberg. If Mark Wahlberg had grown up to be a famous ventriloquist, he'd be more famous than he is right now.
Oh my God.
Damn. I've got one.
I think he does. I mean, he sucks, but I think he does okay.
Oh my God.
He does fine for himself.
Chris Davis, save us.
Yeah. He was in those Ted movies.
This one has really started to eat at me recently, but Stalker 2. I'm a really big Stalker fan, but after that delay till the end of the year, I started thinking about GSC Game World and what it is, and especially what's going on in Eastern Europe right now. I
Oh,
geez, that's
oh,
dark.
yeah. You saying it's not fun anymore? It's too real?
No, I'm just saying I don't trust this GSC game world.
Is okay?
That's what I've been saying from the beginning, and you're the one who's been calling me crazy.
I never have called you crazy about that, ever.
They're based in what, the Ukraine? Is that?
Oh shit! Yeah. Really?
Yeah. They're based in Kiev.
Wow. Yikes.
Well,
but even if you just ignored all the political stuff going on right now, like the fact that this GSC game world was restarted by that same founder, Sergei Grigorovich, that canned and fired everyone about 10 years ago. Like, dude, I don't know.
I remember that.
Hey, it's there's definitely a reason for concern there. These are all good answers. Yeah. Our next question from...
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Before we move on, can I just also say that, like, that fucking Star Wars Eclipse game?
Oh.
Right?
No.
Like, that, I feel like...
I've watched that trailer. Excited about
I've watched that trailer a bunch and been like, this looks cool. And then that Quantic Dream fucking... logo pops up, and like I think it is doing actual spiritual harm to my soul. Like I think maybe I've lost the capacity to like things as much as I used to.
Keep in mind that the same leaks that were accurate also suggested that they're trying to do more than just a Quantic Dream game, and that they're struggling.
Yeah, so, I know, but like that's what I'm saying. It's like I know it's gonna be shit, but like. You think I'm not gonna be there day one? Like you think that's not a day one buy for me?
Couple more questions, guys, from Fall Streak in Discord. The latest state of play included a segment about a realistic water cycle system for Gran Turismo. What are some elements of real life that you wish games would sometimes go into simulation levels of detail with?
Boners.
I'm not sure. What? Boners?
Boners.
No.
Anybody have an answer? This is a tough one. I mean,
how would that work in a game?
What was the example, Nick?
He's talking about a realistic water cycle system. Oh my God, Brad! A realistic water cycle system for Gran Turismo. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't watch that state of play, so I'm not entirely sure what he's talking about.
I think he means the environment,
evaporation and precipitation, like that water cycle.
Yeah, Nick.
That seems
elementary school much.
That seems dumb.
But Gran Turismo is all about like obsessing over like completely pointless things.
Right.
So could I stop and stare at a puddle and watch it evaporate, and then it starts raining a few minutes later?
What pointless thing do you want them to obsess over?
I want them to be able to plant an acorn in the ground, and as the game progresses over the years.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, Peter Molyneux is like the embodiment of this question. Like his obsession as a game developer was this exact thing, and he was, for all intents and purposes, was kind of shunned for that exact thing. So the question is, do we even want developers to obsess over tiny details like this? I don't.
I think we do want people to experiment with these things, so that they can be models for proper usage in another video game.
Sure.
I don't think there's any real harm in it.
I really like I love No Man's Sky. Don't get me wrong. You guys know me. I love No Man's Sky. I'm saying it all the time. I say it every day, all the time, every episode. Love that No Man's Sky. I want to see a game that does planet to space to warp travel better than that. Better than Star Citizen, better than anything that exists. I want like something that's like
Star Citizen doesn't exist.
Oh man, dude! I saw this. I saw a very, very impassioned era thread that said, "Dude, Star Citizen not only exists, it's amazing. Let me break it down for you." And it was like this whole long thing with all of these fucking links, and it felt like an NFT scam.
It's an NFT scam for sure.
There is.
I mean, you had to pay real money for those ships. But like, what I want is something like, I don't know, Euro Truck Simulator, but like you're a cargo hauler pilot in space.
You're a space trucker.
Yeah,
there's
like I was watching. But not like. I mean, there's games that like kind of simulate that experience. But I want like what I was saying. I was like I was watching one of those train simulator games, right? And it's like they're in a modern diesel train, and it's like all the different like switches and dials you have to hit to like you got to turn on the engine, then you got to wait for the engine to warm up, then you got to go over the computer and you got to tell the computer to disengage this brake and disengage that brake, and then you got to like pull these levers, and it's just like super fucking boring. You know what I'm saying? Like I want that, but a spaceship.
Yeah, but to the people who love trains,
but you have to make up
all over it.
What?
Can you not? Oh damn
Dude,
it!
I swear
I was just gonna make.
Yeah, you blow your load all over it. Yeah. Great. You slime on it. Thanks, guys. I want that for spaceships because I want like a space flight sim that's
nothing but flip levers and switches.
Yeah, that's like really fucking boring, I guess, but in a different way than most of them are. I don't know what
doesn't have that.
What am I talking about? Yeah, but Elite Dangerous, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
You want Star Citizen.
Listen, I'm trying to answer the question. I'm trying to engage with it as sincerely as possible, and maybe the answer, maybe what I'm saying exists, and I just don't know about it, and I'm sorry, but
I'm actually with you, Chris, because I just had flashback. You just made me think about something I haven't thought about in years. You made me flashback to what's the children's museum in downtown Austin that had the grocery store simulation, and it used to like hit the cash register buttons over, and like that was like the best thing in the world. Like that's like a very like minor, like boiled down to the essentials of what you're talking about. I would love that scaled up to space travel.
Nick wants a grocery store. Chris wants space travel, and Nick wants a grocery store.
Well, I mean, I think what Nick is saying is that piloting a spaceship should be like running a grocery store.
I think he wants the grocery store.
I think
both. I want both.
So
a grocery
my
store.
answer and you know, not just an entire game based around it, but like potentially in Grand Theft Auto 6, like you have to do maintenance on your car.
Yeah,
like you have to take it in for tire rotations and oil changes, and you can pay someone to do it, or you can do it yourself. And there's like a mini game where you're like changing your stuff, and you fucking drop a wrench on your foot. Yeah, you can fuck it up, and then you got to call somebody to come get it.
But like, yeah, if you're trying to take it to a garage, you might have to like schedule an appointment. They're like, oh no, our guy that does state inspections isn't in today. You're gonna have to come back on Monday.
Right? And
you totally get screwed by the shop.
That breaker fluid, man, it's gonna be $3,000, and you're like,
oh my god! Last time I took my old car to the shop, they're like, I'm like, it's old. I'm thinking about getting a new car. I don't want to spend too much more money on this car. And they go, how much more do you want to spend on this car? And I just stared at him and I didn't give him a number. Motherfucker. I bet he could think of exactly that many things wrong with it that would get me to that number.
There's a note under your account in their system that's just like, get him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, probably.
All right, our last question for the night, and this is, you're gonna be tempted to go into long answers that this is not necessary.
Yes, let's do it.
First thing that comes to your head, Cracknacker in Discord asks, in your opinion, what is the best handheld console of all time and why?
The Switch.
I'm gonna go with Switch as well, but then again, the Switch is. I say that because the Switch is like I have put more hours playing into my Switch, playing it as a handheld console than any handheld console I've ever played, and I think that 3DS. In and of itself is reason enough.
The Game Boy Advance.
Oh man, it's tough.
Advance, right?
This is a tough question.
It's the handheld.
I'm gonna say the DS.
The original DS.
The original DS
had a good library, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But would you say the original DS or the DS Lite?
Are we talking hardware? Or are we talking about like software libraries? Really?
I mean, I think they both have to come into play here.
We are.
Huh?
I don't think we're just talking about that.
I mean, the DS was really unique in a way that like the 3DS got away from because the focus became the top screen. So you had less like gameplay touchscreen stuff on the bottom. I mean, there was like 3 awesome Castlevania games. There's a couple of Advance Wars games. I mean, there's handheld games that felt like fucking handheld games. The Switch is cool, but it's a different beast. The DS had a great library, but it was also unique. You had like a touch. You had 2 Zelda games that you controlled with a touchscreen, and they did like a pretty good job with the way that shit controlled. They had stuff like Elite Beat Agents and Owendon, which are like rhythm games that you can't replicate on like modern hardware because no one uses a touchscreen with a stylus anymore. Capacitive touchscreens, even if you use a stylus, don't feel the same, Like, there was a rumble pack that you could throw into the GBA slot on the original DS that when you tapped on, it would rumble. That shit was crazy. And, Kirby's Canvas Curse, Rainbow Curse is pretty good, but it doesn't compare to Canvas Curse. And you can only do a game like that when you're okay with the gameplay being 100% focused down on that bottom touchscreen, and they didn't do that on the 3DS. I really do love the DS, and especially when you could throw a GBA game in there. You got that whole library, fuck it. So yeah, the DS Lite, sure.
All right. Anyone else want to chime in there? I mean, I honestly say Switch just because I'm so console centric, and the fact that I can play a handheld and then just continue playing it in console mode is just a complete game changer for me.
Yeah. And it's the most recent handheld I've owned, so
yeah,
there you go.
That too.
I still stand by Game Boy Advance because it had 2 form factors that were nice on either way you played with them. You had the full libraries of Game Boy and Game Boy Color that were backwards compatible there. So you had tons of stuff. And the great thing about the Advance era was that during that time, you got... It was like the prime system for porting and translating like 16-bit game design and putting it on in a handheld experience. So you got a lot of like quality ideas.
I also think the Game Boy Advance was really, honestly, the last time that I was regularly hanging out with people in person who also had Game Boy Advances and had the games that I was playing and was like playing with them multiplayer. You know what I mean?
That's true, yeah.
Like that was the last time that I didn't really have to like plan multiplayer sessions for handheld games.
I gotta be honest with you though, man, I wish I was like a Japanese kid back in the era when PSP and Monster Hunter were blowing up for the first time real big. Imagine sitting in a cafe with like 3 other guys like fighting a Rathalos, man, that should be cool.
Then you all become best friends.
There we go. All right. Guys, thank you to everyone who submitted a question this week. Like I said, if you're interested in submitting one for next week's show, you can do so. You can email us at questions@4playernetwork.com, or you can jump into the submit a question thread for the next episode in Discord in the podcast channel. So without further ado, let's wrap this up. 4-Player Minute. Brad, it's been a while. We're going to start with you.
Yeah.
Hype, sweat, thank you, fuck you if you've forgotten.
Hype is for a game that if I was being selfish, I would have made it a news topic, damn it, because it's that awesome. The creators of Shovel Knight Yacht Club Games finally free of Shovel Knight, even though there's still other developers who are working in that IP with cool projects, but they're moving on to their big new IP. It's Mina the Hollower, and it's a love letter to like Game Boy Color, like the visual style is very Game Boy Color. It looks like Link's Awakening, or like the Seasons games meets like Castlevania. Like you have a chain whip that you're throwing axes and stuff. But it looks like those games. But at the same time, it looks like it's gonna play very modern, kind of like how Shovel Knight did, right? Shovel Knight was this throwback style like NES game, but it had a lot of nice modern like qualities and feel. And this looks like that, but for an isometric, like Zelda game. And it looks like it plays great. Like they show a lot of footage and trailers and GIFs and stuff where you're doing like cool like acrobatic moves, and it looks really, really good. So I highly recommend y'all check out the trailer for Mina the Hollower. The weird thing is, And let's just call this my sweat as well. Well, it's not really a sweat. They're doing a Kickstarter, and I feel like Yacht Club Games doesn't need to do a Kickstarter because I think they have lots and lots and lots of money because Shovel Knight was extremely successful. So it feels a little weird, but hey, I guess my actual sweat is I'm still a little concerned about Triangle Strategy. It's a game I'm very, very excited for, but I don't, necessarily trust that developer. And there are aspects of like customization that I value very highly in strategy RPGs, which I'm pretty sure like don't really exist in this game in a way that I like. I think it's going to be a little more Fire Emblem-y in that respect, like very light customization, like older Fire Emblem even. So I'm a little iffy about that, but that soundtrack fucking slaps, dude. My thank you for this week goes to Wario64, just because I think we should always thank Wario64 every now and then. I got COVID tests like right away because of him, and I just ordered some Final Fantasy Tactics figurines that look amazing because of him.
Cool.
And
how many figurines did you order?
Not just more. I ordered two. There's three, but I don't fuck with chapter
You didn't get
one
Ramza?
No, dude, he changes his outfit armor like a couple times in that game, and every time they show him in like official artwork and figurines and stuff, it's always his like chapter one like cadet armor, and it's like kind of lame compared to like some of the shit he gets later. So I didn't order that one. But yeah, Delita and Agrius will be mine, and my fuck you for the week goes to the weather in this house and this crappy heater that I have, which seems like I might be struggling right now. It's getting cold out there. Look at the feels like on Google. It's single digits. So, and I have to work this weekend. So,
Thanks.
Gonna be slipping and sliding all over the fucking place getting to work. Yay.
Yeah.
Be careful. Nolan, how about you next?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm sweaty this week. My first sweat, yes, I agree with Brad, was to the weather. While it is definitely not as bad as it was last year, it's still not great. The entire north side of my house is one sheet of ice. There's a lot of ice because the problem is I don't have anybody to the north of my house, and since all the wind and rain is coming from the north and the wind's coming from that, it's just sheets of ice. And so it's not great. I always get worried about pipes and stuff. I don't think anything's going to get burst, but it's always a fear. And last night waking up every 20 minutes, like, did I just hear dripping?
A lot of horror stories from last year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I'm always worried about it. And the funny thing is I'm talking with coworkers in like other states, like Atlanta, and they're like, oh, you just shut off the water to your outside. So, no, we can't do that here. That's not a thing that most homes have in the South, that you can, water shutoffs for different parts. No, there is one shutoff valve to your house, and that is it. And it's no fun. So yeah, just always. Anyway, my second sweat goes to Dying Light: Stay Human. I love that first game so much. Worried that not that this one is going to be bad, but I'm worried that the way I'm going to experience it is going to be different. When the first one came out, I want to say that was like 2015?
Yeah,
Something like
2015.
that. Dude, I did nothing but play games. Bernadette worked an opposite schedule from me, or she was busy doing her residency, so I had so much free time, and just me and Jaeger played that. I have nowhere near as much free time now, and so I'm just worried that I'm going to approach the game differently. I don't know. We'll see. My second
IGN review saying it took them 80 hours to get through the game, and I'm like,
God damn,
that's so long.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
My second sweat is going to go, or my third sweat, sorry, to Pokemon. Arceus Legends, whatever it's called. I always kind of complained about Pokemon, and it's been a long time since I played a new one, and I said as soon as they make it different, I'll probably play it. I don't know if that means I have to play this one now. Like, I don't know. I like, after hearing y'all talk about it, like, there's some things I like that y'all said. There's some things that I'm iffy about. I don't know. And then my fourth sweat, rather, I can't count, is going to go to Horizon Forbidden West. I never got around to finishing Zero Dawn. I picked it up a week or two ago. I had no idea how to play the game. I had no idea what was going on. I was very confused. I was like, should I restart? I was like 12 hours into the game, and I'm like, do I really want to replay 12 hours worth? So just a little bit where I don't know if I want to try and finish that one before.
I've always told
Mhm.
myself that I was going to try to finish that first one because I had no real reason not to play it before this next one. But then I sort of, I'm sort of at peace with going into this new one because it seems like it's been a long time, and I trust that they're going to like improve a lot of things to where this is probably going to be a fine game to go into watching a good YouTube video from the first one. So not like the whole
Yeah,
game, but
For a
I got
recap,
you.
story wise and stuff.
good recap.
Anyway, that's my sweaty week.
Yeah.
All right,
Nolan, I'm
Crispy.
kind of surprised. You
Oh.
your first sweat was the power going out and having problems with your house, and at no point during that saying that did you fuck with us and disconnect from the call.
I'm not going to do that during a podcast. Maybe if we were like in between recordings.
Yeah,
Not
thank
during
you.
the podcast.
I appreciate that, Nolan, and I don't appreciate Chris Davis putting ideas in people's heads. Crispy, your turn.
Yeah. Okay. My hype this week is for Dying Light 2. Who would have thunk?
Yeah,
Looks pretty cool. Could be cool. Could be cool.
could be cool.
Or it won't be, and who cares?
I want to know what review you watched.
Oh.
Some people are pretty damn down on that game.
Who was it? Oh, fuck. I can't remember the guy's name. Skill Up?
Okay.
Yeah, that's the one that Brad linked me before I watched his review. He linked me the review before the actual. I guess there was like a preview build or something, and it was before the embargo lifted on the actual full reviews.
Yeah.
And I watched it, and then I finished it, and then I went to go say something to Brad, and then I went back to watch it, go back and like scrub through it and watch something else, and they had took the video down in the middle.
Was ACG. That was ACG.
Was that AC? Oh, okay. I thought it was.
Yeah,
but that was such a weird thing. Like I watched it in the middle of me watching it, they had to take it down because
you hashtag Dying Light 2 when you tweeted about it.
I didn't know. I mean, that can't be my fault, right? It can't be my fault.
So, I mean, it's a reasonable, sensible hype for Dying Light 2. We'll see what happens.
Even the most negative reviews I saw said, dude, the combat's cool and the parkour is cool.
Which
if that's the shit you care about, I think you're going to be cool.
Right? And somebody said there's like a glider in the game, maybe?
Yeah,
I don't know.
There's a glider.
Sounds cool. Could be cool. My sweat is for, I really had to do some introspection and look back on my year of gaming last week. When we did our award show, and the most, like, for most of that show, I really thought I'd only played 9 new games last year, and then I found out it was maybe really more like 10 or 11. But that made me think, like, man, it, like, not even just for the podcast, right? Not just for you guys, but for myself, like, I'm leaving a lot of high profile stuff just sitting on the table.
Was it a Thanos moment?
Like I wanted to, yeah, like, was it worth it? I mean, I don't know about that. Like, I don't know that it wasn't, like, I didn't spend a lot of time playing games I didn't like this year. You know what I'm saying? But, I didn't play stuff that I did want to play. Like, I didn't play Psychonauts 2. Which is the one that really stands out to me as, like, man, it's weird that I didn't ever really try to go out of my way to find that.
Game Path, man.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so, like, I guess maybe I'm not committing to playing more games this year, but I am committing to, like, really just, like, don't get too bogged down with one thing and be more open to games that, be more open to games that I think I might like that aren't immediately giving me the vibe of, like, mind-blowing experience. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like that's kind of like what I was waiting for all year. Is like, what's the game that's just gonna fucking bend me over?
You're gonna be playing Ghostwire with us?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I mean, yeah, probably. My fuck you for the week. I don't know, man. I'm not that angry, but also I'm really angry because I've got a lot of misplaced anger today because Last Jedi was trending on Twitter, so just a lot of opinions. Fuck those people. Yeah, fuck the internet, man. But other than that, nah, I'm not super. Fuck Microsoft, I guess, and fuck Sony. Like, okay, cool. Fuck you guys. Not for anything in particular, but because you're big corporations and we should tell you to go fuck yourself every now and then.
We leave Nintendo out a lot when we say fuck Sony and Microsoft.
Yeah,
we
fuck you too, Nintendo. Fuck you.
Pulls enough bullshit.
And fuck you, Disney, and fuck you, Universal, and fuck you, Paramount, especially Paramount. Like, what, Paramount Plus? You're gonna fucking lock away all my Star Trek shows behind another subscription service? Fuck you, Paramount.
If you want to get Star Trek, you can get Paramount Plus, and you'll be able to watch that new Halo show.
The new Halo show? Yeah, it's like, fuck you.
90 Day Fiance.
Fuck you guys.
Yeah, of course. 90 Day Fiance.
You're joking, but like my girlfriend has Paramount Plus because of that. Because she's all in on the 90 Day Fiance, Love After Lockup, which, by the way, insane shows, just insane glimpse of humanity there. But I'm sure you guys are all aware of that. And my thank you for the week, you know what? My thank you goes to Brad. Brad, thank you for being so positive about Wildermyth last week, because I actually did sit down and play a few hours of it. Like, I started a new game, sat down, was like, oh, has this kind of like opened up a little bit from the last time I played it? And it has. And I had some like I had a couple, like, I played 2 chapters of a 3-chapter campaign, and there was a lot of moments in there where it's like, man, in many other games, even games like XCOM, this would have just been a disappointing moment, right? But Wildermyth does its magic and like makes everything feel, if not, you may not feel good about what happened, but it definitely felt dramatic, and that is satisfying. You know what I mean? Awesome. You feel where I'm coming from?
Definitely.
It's like, yeah, just like a lot of great emerging stories.
It's definitely one of those games where you trust never needing to reload or something because
even if something really bad happens,
you feel like the game's got you.
Yeah, and it's like I've had people die. I've had people like they have like these whole things where it's like, oh, your character dropped to 0 hit points in battle, so now you have to make a choice. Do they like die here, or do they retreat from battle and they're going to be permanently like maimed, and they're going to have penalties to their stats because of this? And it like in the moment it kind of feels like, oh fuck, but you get out of battle and it's like, oh, your hunter lost an eye, so now she wears an eye patch all the time, and it's like a thing for her. Like they have character moments where like they're dealing with like past trauma or like weird things that happened to them, or like anything, or like you missed recruiting a character and you're like, fuck, I could have recruited that character, but I didn't, but the story still like played out in a really dramatic way, and that in and of itself is really satisfying and awesome. That's fucking great,
That whole 5-hour podcast was worth it.
It was worth it.
Debatable.
Yeah, I mean, has any one human being on the planet listened to all 5 hours in a row?
Shakusky is keeping pace with us. He was the one who pointed out he has been listening to everyone. He was the one who pointed out the error with Chris Davis' audio.
Oh, wow.
So he's on track to finish them all. He might be the only one, but who knows?
Gotta catch
People do.
We're doing this for you, Shakusky.
Chris Davis, your turn.
Okay. Well, my first hype, I'm just gonna rob Nick and say it's Ghostwire Tokyo.
Motherfucker, how the hell did you know I wrote that down?
Because
I thought it was
talked about it for a long period of time tonight.
There's a lot of shit that I'm hyped for in between now and Ghostwire Tokyo, by the way. It could have been anything.
Yeah, sure, but Ghostwire Tokyo, because holy shit, this game looks great.
I hate going last.
I am so... We didn't really talk about it, but the fact that this game is all about combat using hand animations is just so interesting to me. Like, I can't recall ever seeing a game that really was so focused on finger movement and hand placement and things like that. That
Nope.
looks so.
When we were saying Naruto, that is what we were.
It looks like
to.
a Doctor Strange first-person shooter.
Oh my god, that's a perfect descriptor.
Dude, that would be something.
I love it.
I mean, it would be cool,
game.
but if they made a Doctor Strange game and went this direction with it, I would be upset. You know, like Ghostwire isn't like a thing, so it's like, yeah, do whatever you're gonna do. But if they did that for something like, oh, we're making a Doctor Strange game and this is what it looks like, I would be like, hell no.
I would still be interested. Because Doctor Strange is more than just the hand moves or anything. But I just think that's really cool.
Oh, this guy's gonna turn
okay. Don't.
Like
I
am
soundtrack.
Okay, whatever. My second hype is more of a modest hype. More stuff from the news. We found out this week that Square Enix intends to start talking and showing Final Fantasy VII Part 2 sometime this year.
Sometime this year.
Yeah.
Bitch, it is February.
Hey, the fact that they're actually fucking gonna talk about it and show some shit, like,
in December.
It is a game I will play, but now that I've come to like accept that I know it's just probably gonna be like the first one structurally, I'm a little.
I mean, that's a possibility. We have no idea to what extent this game is going to be. We don't even know if it's going to follow Final Fantasy VII canonically.
I am far more excited.
We know it's not.
No, not the canon.
I think that's what the whole first game was about.
I am far more interested in seeing more of Final Fantasy 16 at this point, but I get your point.
Yeah, whatever. I'm not a whatever. Anyway,
a naysayer.
My sweat goes to Game of the Year videos, which we are past due when working on, and we are working on them.
As always. Yep. As always.
I got something in the books that may go live pretty soon.
Sunday.
But
Sunday.
In the meantime, we're still working on them. Hopefully we will get them out before summer. I'm just waiting on certain people to actually turn in their shit. My fuck you this week. I was going to give it to Amazon because they're raising the price of Prime again by another $20. But really no, it's going to go to GameStop because they announced that they are opening up through $100 million of funding a NFT marketplace.
What? Really?
Yes.
Wow. Guys, oh man, have you guys watched that Folding Ideas documentary on NFTs? It's like 2.5 hours long. It's so good. Okay. It's so good.
Right. It's misinformed, Crispy.
No, it's great. It's like the pinnacle of video essays. It's great.
We just don't understand. That's all.
No.
That's all.
Yeah. You gotta hodl like a diamond hands to the moon.
So yeah,
right.
fuck GameStop.
That's all I know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I support that.
Don't buy products from GameStop. You've got plenty of other avenues to go through.
Are we no longer buying things from companies that decide to do some NFT bullshit? Because that's pretty much all of them right now.
It's gonna get hard.
I mean, it's gonna get hard, but until then, like.
All right, I'll keep mine short. My 4-player minute starts now. Yes, Chris Davis stole my hype. Ghostwire Tokyo. I'm excited about it. Finally, I really just needed to see more context for it. I wanted to see what it was, and I'm especially excited. You know me. I get excited. I enjoy open worlds a lot. I'm not ashamed of it. I really like open worlds, and to see this is open with such verticality and with such vibrance, and I don't know. It's just I don't know. I am officially on the hype train for Ghostwire Tokyo, and it's coming soon. My thank you this week goes to Ratfoot. Ratfoot gifted me randomly gifted me The Witcher 1 on PC because it was not in my library. I've never played the original Witcher, and he noticed it wasn't in my library.
To hear your take on Witcher 1.
That would be.
He noticed it was not in my library, and he gifted it to me. So I'll find an opportunity to play it.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't promise I'll like it, but hey, Ratfoot, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Well, you like the Netflix show.
My sweat goes to Dying Light 2. I'm also very, very hyped for Dying Light 2. I'm a little concerned, mostly that I'm not necessarily worried about like the things like the story or, not enjoying the gameplay. I'm more worried about how quickly a lot of those bugs are going to get squashed, because it is a very buggy game. And they said they have a day one patch coming has like over 1,000 bug fixes. So that is promising, I suppose. But I just hope that it's not unplayable or not enjoyable this weekend, because I would love to spend some time playing it this weekend. But it's also a situation where if I have to put it down for a while, play Horizon, play Elden Ring, and then come back to it, I will. But I'm hoping those first 10, 15 hours that I'm able to get through before Horizon hits are enjoyable. If they're really enjoyable and they're not super buggy, I'm going to try and get as far as I possibly can in that game, but we'll see. I'm a little worried about it. And my another thank you this week, I guess thank you is the best way to put it. I don't know. We talked about it a little bit during the break. I saw the new Scream very recently. I'm a big that series is special to me. I really have a soft spot for that franchise. And I don't know, that whole movie felt like a love letter to the original and to Wes Craven.
To the fans.
To the fans, yeah. I mean,
you gotta respect the fans, Nick.
It does not reinvent the wheel in any significant way, but it does. There's a lot of fan service. There's a lot of subverting expectation in subtle ways. I don't know. I had a lot of fun with that movie, and they announced today they greenlit a sequel.
The fans, so, Nick. The fans.
What a weird... I don't give a shit about fans. I'm going to be totally honest. I'm done with fandoms. Fandoms suck.
You're the fans.
Fandoms suck. I'm a fan.
Reddit sucks.
Fandoms suck. I mean, I know technically I'm a part of that fandom, but man, fuck it. They fucking suck, man.
Yeah, hell is other people, right?
Yes, exactly. But they greenlit a sequel, and as a fan of that franchise, I can't even believe I'm saying that in the year 2022. So yeah, thank you for, I guess, whoever. I don't know. Thank you to the original trio, like the three main characters that have been in every single fucking movie since the original in 1996. I can't even fucking believe that's a thing, but
Paychecks,
it's kind of amazing. I mean, I don't. Yeah, sure, of course, everyone does it for money. That's not the point. They just, I don't know. It's just, it's impressive. I feel like a lot of them, they don't need to do these movies, and every time they do it, they bring their A game to it. I don't know. Really, really enjoyed that movie. So,
I don't think Monica needs to do it, but I don't know if David Arquette is.
Dude, David Arquette's dad energy in that movie is strong.
It is.
Yeah.
Friends residuals will only take you so far.
I don't see Sydney in many things.
No, she's not. She's not in a lot of things, but I do really like Neve Campbell. So yeah, it's good to see her come back. Anyways, that's our show, guys. Thank you so much for listening, Brad. It's good to have you back on another show.
Not much fanfare after 5 months. Gotta say, guys, thanks.
Hey, welcome back, Brad. How many kids you got now? 5 or 6?
It's okay. Okay. I was here last week. Whatever.
I know.
Well, it's not like you were gone. You've been in Discord almost every single
I know.
day.
Yeah,
it's not like you disappeared for 5 months.
Fine.
Gone but not forgotten.
I've been arguing with you in Discord for 5 months.
We've done 20 weeks worth of update videos with you.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. We absolutely have. It's like you never left. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening. 4playernetwork.com is, of course, the website. And if you want to join our community, discord.gg/4player. Check it out. If you want to support us financially, patreon.com/4player is a great way to do it. But yeah, I guess that's going to be it. Until next time, be safe, play video games, be good to each other, and we'll see you next time. Good night.
Bye.